It's not cowardice, though.
It is. I think it is actually cowardice.
It's because you have nothing. Because you come from a different place. I don't know how to make you understand it. It's not cowardice. You're asking a person. There's like a collective fiction that everybody buys into that makes everybody feel good, and that's the problem. You think it's a fiction that people want to avoid. That's there. It's some necessary evil that people really don't feel an attachment to. But the reality is, people love it.
That's horrible. Like, just don't turn on your webcam if that's what you are gonna do. There's just no point to it. You're saying I should stop saying it out loud. You're saying no.
You're wrong. You're saying go ahead. You can say a bunch of that's not relevant to the conversation. Go ahead.
You're saying I should stop saying it out loud.
Nope, that's not what I'm saying.
Trying to say how I feel about her lying about how much she trusts me. I'm not saying that to try to get her to trust me. I'm saying it to be intimate and honest about my emotional experience. I don't want to sit here with a shit-eating grin on my face, pretending I think it's funny that she's pretending that she's afraid to let her kids in the room when I'm on a stream with her, or pretending that she thinks that I might want the age of consent to be 8. I don't think it's funny. I mean, it's funny. It is funny, but also pisses me off.
Let me play the ad that's on your video so I can watch it and listen to the comments as well.
You're gonna watch this. You're gonna read the chat.
I'm gonna read the chat. Yeah.
Okay. So I usually don't read the chat when I talk to people, but if you're gonna read it, I'll read it.
Like occasionally, I just leave it up just so I can see it.
Okay.
Unless you don't want me to.
If I said I didn't want you to, would you lie and read it anyway? What kind of person are you?
Shut it off.
No, it's up to you. I think that it will be probably more intimate if we don't read the chat, but it'll be more funny if we do read the chat. So it depends on what kind of conversation you want to have.
Whatever you want. I'm up for either one.
Let's ignore the chat for now, and then we can look at it later, and if they have questions or comments for either of us, then we can incorporate it into our discussion.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay. Sometimes when I read the chat, I find myself saying things just to impress them or make them laugh. And it's like not conscious, but it pollutes my mind to read the chat.
Okay, that's fair.
Well, do you want to introduce yourself?
He's pushing this so hard.
Oh, yes. For people who don't know who I am, my name's Arielle, and excuse me, I just burped. I've been making videos on YouTube since 2009, since 12 years, and I focus mainly, I would say, on LGBT culture, but recently, over the past 2 years, I dove more into politics, I would say. But it's mainly culture and the critiquing of culture than anything else.
Okay. Do you know anything about me?
I looked at some of the live streams, but nothing crazy, because I was in Miami and then I was at the Brexit event on Saturday.
No, I'm just trying to figure out where what perceptions you might have of me, if any, or is it just like I'm
not making any perceptions. No, I don't know. I have no idea if you're on the left or right. I don't care either way. As long as you're somebody that can sit down and have a conversation, that's all that I'm always. That's always what I've been about. So.
Okay. Well, I can do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So yeah, I watched a bunch of your videos. I think the best jumping off point is probably, well, first of all, I'm obsessed with Steven Crowder, and I saw that you did a video with him.
He was very nice.
He's like my nemesis.
Why?
I don't know. He evokes something in me, a primal hatred. I'm obsessed with him. I want nothing more than to talk to him. I don't think he knows I exist. I've just been completely obsessed with him for like years.
Okay.
Like 3.
In a good way or a bad way? In a bad way that you hate him. So, well, I guess not a bad way.
Yeah, and like a Joker Batman way.
Okay. Okay, interesting.
It's a strong feeling. Okay. You know, they say that you hate in other people what you see in yourself.
I could see that. What's not healed in yourself? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Steven Crowder is my wound.
Okay.
Yeah.
She's totally not plugged into this.
Okay, so he's very he's I'm terrified that I'm like him. So he's very arrogant.
Why don't you want to be like him? That sounds
he wants to.
Okay, I mean, I don't think he is, but I'm from New York and we're all kind of arrogant, so.
Okay, he wants to I feel his content is very divisive. He wants to pit people against each other. He wants to monetize the fracture in our country. He thinks he knows everything. He's smug.
I don't know how to answer that because I've never talked to him about
Seriously?
I've never talked to him that in depth about things.
Okay.
I think he's gay.
I don't think he's gay.
Oh, he's gay. I know he's gay.
All right. But to each his own.
Okay, I don't think he's exclusively gay. I think he is 90% gay.
Good for him. If that's his truth.
Well, it's not good for him. He has to come out.
Not that, okay.
Other stuff about him. He sets up arguments with college students who don't know what they're talking about, and then just humiliates them, and then puts them on the internet
but that's
for
their
money.
choice. It's the college student's choice. You know.
That doesn't make you can. So I can lie to you or convince you to buy a car that's worth $5,000.
Starting off
for
so aggressively.
$30,000.
Oh my
You don't know
God.
anything about cars. If I'm a good enough smooth talker, I can seduce
You're
you
saying
into making.
he's taking advantage, even though he's not doing anything wrong technically.
Well, I mean, he's not doing anything wrong legally. Like,
Right,
yeah,
that's what I mean.
they're not
You're saying
10-year-olds.
morally he's doing something wrong. Ah.
I think I'm gonna call you out here. I think by saying it's their choice, you're also implying that you know he's doing something wrong, but they're allowing it to be done to them.
No, I don't think so. I think they all have the opportunity, and they know. No, I don't think that's true. I don't think that's true. I think I've had this situation with myself as well, right? Where I've gone into conversations or live streams, whatever, when I wasn't fully aware. I wasn't a college student, but
I mean, you're doing it right now.
Yeah, well, I'm here
Jesus.
now, right? And I think it's my choice, and to be
Yeah.
here, it's also my choice to leave if I wanted to. So.
Yeah, okay, but leaving is, especially if you're a college student on camera, and there's a crowd of people who are going to laugh if you get up and walk away. Leaving is after you've been hooked into the conversation. I don't think leaving is exactly a dignified option. I just think it's wrong. I think it's wrong. I think it's wrong.
Yeah, that's a fair,
And just-
that's a
I
fair
think-
argument. I like his content, though, so.
I can tell.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have his phone number?
No.
Okay, that's fine. Let's move on to another topic. We can circle back to Stephen. Anyway, so I'm afraid that I'm him. My fear is that I'm going to become him or turn into him, or that I already have. That I'm going to just be this divisive force that turns people against each other and makes people hate each other, and then I'm going to take advantage of younger, weaker, dumber people and just make them look stupid. Like I was on this panel last night with this. I felt dog whistling kind of Nick Fuentes acolyte, and I got really pissed off at him, and like he was really mean to me, but he was like 20, and so I was like I don't know whether to talk to you, like whether you're an equal or like whether you're like a kid, but I was like extremely irritated and like depressed, and then after the stream ended, I like talked a bunch of shit about him, but then I was like, I don't like. I'm here I am talking shit about 20-year-olds exactly like Steven Crowder. That's why.
That's just something that's internal that you need to work on now, then.
I need to work on it
Yeah.
also externally with Steven. I need to talk to him. But that,
Reach
that's
out
my.
to him, I guess. Email him.
Yeah, I have, but I'll try again. Okay, so next topic I would say is trans people,
Oh, let's do it.
right?
That's
I've
my
been
favorite
talking-
topic.
Is it?
No, no, but it's a topic that people usually ask me when we talk about it, when they want me
Okay.
on camera.
So, somebody's in the chat before I hit the chat right when you first got on said that you were the queen turf, or head turf. Okay, you in your videos you referenced the website turf is a slur.
.com.
I don't agree that turf is a slur.
Okay. It's not my
Do you think-
website. It's just no. I don't think it's a slur. I don't think the actual meaning of it is a slur. I think people use it as a slur.
Okay.
Like the actual definition of turf is trans exclusionary radical feminist.
Right. Which is that? Is that?
I'm not trans exclusionary in my feminism, And
well, okay, but when they say that, aren't they saying when you're talking about women that you want to advocate for, you're not talking about trans women? I feel like that's what they mean by exclusionary.
they mean that you're just well, I mean trans people in general, I think, is what they mean.
I think they mean that you think trans women are men and trans men are women. So like if you said no, I'm not trans, you can't say you can't.
Women. Trans women are trans women, trans men are trans men. That's what I think.
Okay, so who does feminism advocate for?
Depends. Some feminism needs, some trans men need feminism. Some trans men never come out of the closet, right? Some trans men will live as women even though they know they have gender dysphoria and want to live as a man. And they can't.
So trans men, women.
Mm-hmm. And if you live your life as a woman and you're a trans woman, there are some things that feminism there are some feminist conversations that they should be involved in as well. Not all of them, because not all of those conversations affect them.
Okay, be involved in, but will you say that feminism should advocate for those people?
It depends on what exactly what topic we're talking about.
Okay, so broadly you would not say you wouldn't say yes or no broadly that feminism should advocate for trans women. You would say,
"Oh my God, I hate these fucking attacks."
Because it doesn't make sense. You have to say what part of feminism. If we're talking about like my body, my choice with abortion, trans women don't get abortions. So they should.
Okay.
That's
well,
not
women.
A part of
Women who are born without uteruses don't get abortions. But if I say, do you think feminism should advocate for women? You're not like, well, it depends if the woman's born with a uterus, because if the woman's born with a uterus, then abortion conversation doesn't apply to them. So I can't say that women should be represented by feminism. I don't think that's fair. I think you would just say women should be represented by feminism, whether they have kids or what body parts they have or not. You're making
It's an umbrella term, in my opinion. And I think that
women are clearly in under the umbrella.
There's a lot of different types of women, though, right? There's butch women, there's gay women, there's bi women, there's black women,
and feminism. Okay, so you think trans women are women in the same way that black women are women?
No,
I don't want to compare black women to trans women. I'm not comparing the two. I think that's a disgusting analogy. I think that
why?
Because it's saying that black women are any different than any other female when they're not. You know, they have.
Okay, so trans women are different. So trans women are different from any other.
Of course, they're different. They're trans women.
Okay, so again, I just want to nail this down.
Mm-hmm.
Does feminism support women?
Like in today's world?
No, is the job of feminism to advocate for women?
Oh, is the job to? I don't know what the job of feminism is anymore, because I don't really.
In your mind, what it should be? Should feminism advocate for women?
I think feminism should advocate for the equal treatment of women in society.
Oh my God.
Okay.
Dude.
So, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you think feminism should advocate for trans women? And if the answer is different, which I feel it is, it's a qualified answer. It's a longer answer.
Because it does.
It ain't. Yeah. Okay. So the answer is different. The answer is different, right? It's not yes.
And
okay.
because here's why. If somebody
you don't have
like
to explain it to me.
No, I'm going to though, because I think it's important, right?
Okay.
If there's somebody like you who wants to call themselves a woman who is transgender, do I think you need the same feminist talking points that somebody like me needs? No. And that's just the truth.
That's fine.
You look like a man, you live your life as a man, and you're male.
And yet I'm a woman. Okay, but
regardless if you're actually transgender or not, you still
that.
You don't need those other talking points.
Okay,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, but so my issue with the turf thing is that the fact that the answer is different, longer, with qualifiers, with an explanation, and not just yes, that is the thing that trans rights activists are referring to when they say exclusionary. They're saying you don't think that trans women are actually women.
No,
and so therefore
because they're not women. If you mean women as biological women,
I know why you don't think that.
Yeah,
I get it. Trust me. But it's still exclusionary, right? Like, I just don't see how you can say trans women are trans women.
Would mean fully exclusionary.
No, I think okay. So I'm having a birthday party, and trans people are welcome. They just can't come in the house, but they can come in the yard. So I'm not excluding anybody. You can see. Okay.
I don't think that's a fair argument. I don't think that's a fair comparison. I mean,
trans women are obsessed with the idea of let's say the loudest, most radical activist trans women.
Mm-hmm.
The tip of the spear of trans activism, I think. As in the loudest, the most pushing forward, the most challenging, the people who come up, the people who are going to call you a TERF, I would say, are very interested in being defined as women in as many ways and spaces as they can. Because they believe, because that's fine if you don't think it's fair, but
and I understand why they feel that way, but I don't think it's fair. Just like I don't belong in trans spaces because
yeah, I get it.
It's that simple for me.
Okay, so these people want to be called, want to be seen as women, not a type of women, but as women. Want to be defined as women. So what I don't get is why so-called TERFs don't just bite the bullet and say, I don't.
Dude, that shield attack is so AIDS. Oh my God.
Sometimes you can be included, but generally, like, no. When I talk about feminism, I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about women, and I don't think you're a woman. I know you think you're a woman. I'm not going to say it to your face. I don't think you're a woman. I'm not going to hate you because I don't think you're a woman. But at the end of the day, I'm talking about women, and when I say women, you know what I mean, and you know I don't mean you. And just say, I'm excluding you. Like, what? I just don't understand. It feels like, to say it's a slur, I know you're not saying this.
Less than free.
Is to try to use progressive tricks against them and say, like, well, if you're you're transphobic, oh, you're gonna call me transphobic? Well, I'm calling you radfemphobic. Now you're using slurs against me. You're the bigot. You're bigoted against me. It's like, just stop. Just say, like, okay, if that makes me transphobic, I'm transphobic. If I'm excluding trans women, then yeah, I'm excluding trans women. I don't understand. It doesn't compute for me how it's offensive to be accused
everybody's
of.
Different. Everybody's different. For me, it's not as simple as what is and what isn't. It really is dependent on the situation we're talking about.
Yeah, but for them,
really specific. For
okay.
I
understand. But if I say, do you think feminism applies to black women? And you say, well, that depends. That is bigoted. Like, that would be a pretty...
they're female, and it's about femaleness.
Right. Yes, right. So if it's about femaleness, are trans women female?
Cafe mods.
No, but...
Okay, so if it's about... but you're going in circles again. I don't know why do you want to appease these people? Why would you...
It's because it's not about trying to appease somebody. It's about seeing the truth, right?
No,
it's not.
I think it is about appeasing people. And you, of all people,
that's fine, but in my
this.
opinion, it's not. Because I have friends that are trans women that go about in the world, into society, and pass as women and live as women. And in my opinion, they pass. You would never know. As
women, they pass as women, but they are not women.
Well,
in your view, they are not women.
But we're talking about societally, and maybe, I don't know, emotionally would be. I guess culturally would be the best word. Societally, culturally, they live as women.
Yeah.
So societally, feminism societally and feminism culturally would affect them. Physically, obviously, in some ways, maybe, but not always.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, I'll give you an we're not friends anymore. An ex-friend of mine who I think they went to India or something. I don't remember. Wherever it was very anti-gay at the time. It was like 5 years ago.
More and more and more.
Super butch lesbian. Made herself look even more butch. And made herself look like a guy to the best of her ability when going on vacation with her then girlfriend. Because they were afraid to pose as lesbians, so they posed as a straight couple. Does that person still needs feminism in some ways, right? Physically, because they're still female. But societally and culturally, in that moment, they don't. They're seen as a man, they live as a man, they're treated as a man. That's it. So I think that is a big part of the conversation as well that a lot of people don't get.
I think you're making sense. You're teaching me how to do the mental gymnastics.
Oh my God.
You're giving me a mental gymnastics lesson. Okay, well, allow me to rebut.
Well, please. But I'm not trying to appease people. Trust me, I'm not. Especially the trans activist community.
Okay,
this is genuinely what I think.
So let me get this straight. If trans women across the world, on Twitter, the loudest, angriest, most radical trans women, said, you know what? We're not women. Feminism, could apply to us in certain situations, but we're not women. We should be excluded from feminism. You're saying that you would say to them, no. Don't go. Feminism.
I would say, again, certain things that I think that certain things do not apply to them, but certain things do.
Okay, so here's what I think.
This is the run, calling it.
I think trans women, the tip of the spear of the people who are pushing, want to be defined as women, as biological, literal women.
No, that's obviously not true, and I'll agree with you 100% on that. That defeats the purpose of what transgender even is.
But you do agree that they want? There is a contingent of trans women that want to be defined as literally, biologically female.
Yes, and I disagree with them. Of course, fight with them all the time.
Here's what I think. I think that this group of people wants to be defined as women in every feasible way. So anytime they're not defined as women in any particular space, like a swim team or like sex, like I've seen your videos, like suck my girl dick, stuff like that, they start picking at it, and they say, well, hang on, what do you mean? What do you mean my penis is not a woman's penis?
It's not female, right?
Right. And so I think you're willing to draw the line there. But my sense is...
I'm willing to draw the line at a physical level, at a biological level, not a social or cultural level. Because there are trans women, like Blair White does not live her life as a gay man. Like, she doesn't. She lives her life as a woman.
I understand. I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
But what I don't think you understand is that your answer that has qualifications about living as a woman
can be different depending on what a person sees as a woman, I guess.
No, that answer to them is exclusionary. They want a yes. They don't want any difference.
Yes, right. I agree with that.
They want a solid yes. So if you can't give them a solid yes, I would just, since they're not going to be happy with a semi-yes, I would just acknowledge that you are excluding them. You're saying if you dress up as a woman and you pass, then you temporarily, because of the effort you put into disguising yourself, you can some advocacy for you is warranted, but you're a guest. You're not. It's not really.
I think that's a fair statement.
Yeah. So I guess I feel like if that's the thing that they're like poking at, which is like, wait, you don't really think we're women? That, to me, that's what TERF means. TERF means feminists who don't actually really think that we're women. It doesn't, and like it gets morphed into feminists who hate us or whatever. I don't know. I would just reclaim it. If it were me, I would say like, yes, you're being excluded. Here's why. It doesn't mean I hate you.
It doesn't mean I hate you. It's an interesting way of putting it.
And like socially, I advocate for blah, blah, blah. But like, I just feel like at the core question of like, are you excluding us? At some point, the answer has to be yes. And like, so I get why you're saying you draw the line. You say no there, and you say yes to swim team, sex, and I assume whatever, I guess those are the main,
to draw the line at those things, right? Yeah.
Yeah, sports in the bedroom are like the main battlegrounds where you kind of just have to pick a side at that point.
Right. Right. Yeah, definitely. And I think people are changing their views a little bit about it. I think in the beginning of this whole debate, maybe it started like 5-6 years ago, I think people were all for it, right? Because they didn't think that they're going to be all for it because they want to be nice, right? Yeah, sure, trans women are women. Sure, they're going to call you she. Sure, we're going to do all these things for you. We're going to support you, blah, blah, blah. And then the bad seeds, the bad apples started popping up, and everyone was like, oh, wait, we didn't think this was going to happen type of thing, right? We didn't think people were going to take advantage of women in prison. We didn't think people were going to take advantage of women in sports, and now it's happening. So there's a lot of pushback, and I think people are starting to realize anytime you give anyone an inch, any community an inch, the slippery slope is a very possible thing.
Oh, there's another attack sometimes.
People that want to take advantage will take advantage.
Okay, so let's assume we don't have separate trans wings or separate trans prisons. It's not in the budget. We have men and we have women. Where do you think trans women should go to prison?
I think Blair White actually said it best. I think there already is an LGBT wing in some prisons.
It's been shut down. Unfortunately,
shut
it's
down?
no, and not in my hypothetical. For the purpose of this
I mean,
question,
I think that would be the best thing to do.
it absolutely would. That's why I started the question with saying that there isn't that there that's
there
not.
wouldn't be.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't want to answer, that's fine. But my question
I
is,
don't know. I don't know. I think again.
well, if you had a big lever and you had to flip it, you're gonna put all the trans women in the men's prison or the women's prison?
It might sound stupid, but I think I would have to look at the person and be like, is this person likely to be more of a threat to, likely to be more threatened, or likely to be more of a threat?
Oh my God.
Are you saying if you have a dick?
I think having a dick is a big part of it, but also
It's a
just
big
like
threat.
not being on any hormones at all, or having transitioned at all physically, you belong in a male prison, in my opinion. You know, you live a life as a dude, go to men's prison. Sorry, not sorry.
Oh yeah,
but
that could be subjective. Okay, so you're saying that you think it needs to be decided on a case-by-case basis,
I think so.
and the variables that you would look to are, do you actually live your
for living truth, meaning how they actually lived their life up until that point. Not all of a sudden I'm in prison, I'm trans all of a sudden because now I just want to go to women's prison, have an easier time, and
cross-sex hormones and dick having or not.
Right. Yeah, you have to like make the effort, which is, it's not making an effort if you're actually trans. That's something you should want to do. It's something you want to do for yourself if you're actually experiencing trauma and gender dysphoria, right? So if you're a supposed trans woman that you live your life as a dude, I mean, it's one thing if you can't pass because you can't like do it medically, but then if you can't do it medically, it's not my problem. You still should be in a men's prison. Just don't tell anyone that you're trans and you'll be fine. You know what I mean? Like, you're gonna be treated the same way any other guys are treated, in my opinion. What do you think?
Well, I think that if I had to send them all to one or the other, probably send them to the men's prison.
And I think it's. I think
I think you would too. If you had to be
one or the other, I'd probably agree with you only because.
Okay, so
most
but
trans
that means
women. No, go ahead. I agree with you.
Well, that means that there's instances where feminism is protecting women from trans women, which I think is another thing that gets you accused of being a TERF. Is if you're saying trans women are men trying to invade women's spaces, so feminism needs to act as a shield to prevent these men from entering the women's prison.
I think that there are some trans women that are not trans women. You know what I mean? Like there are actually men taking advantage, and I think there are some trans women who would take advantage too, just like anybody else. There are some lesbians that take advantage. There are some gay men that take advantage of straight men. Anybody could be a predator.
I don't even know what I'm dodging here. I don't know what animation I'm looking for. Oh man.
I mean, it's that simple.
Yeah.
Just because you're trans, you don't get a pass. You know.
Unless you
I call out trans people. I call out gay people when they're being predators. Look at Disney. How many times we called out Disney to people, the LGBT community that's quote that are quote Nazis on the right now, calling out Disney for their sexualization of children and such. I
don't think the government. I'm like a gender abolitionist. I think everybody should go to the same prison.
Interesting. How come?
I don't believe in separate but equal. I think that it perpetuates the unequal treatment of women, and in most cases, unfair treatment of women in most cases, but also men in other cases. And I just think we need to like deconstruct the mystique of the opposite sex and the sanctity of women's special blah blah blah. And then it's like if your response is. Your response is like, well, like, yeah, then women will get raped in prison. It's like, I don't think we should put people in places where they rape each other anyway. So that,
right, of course, right, I understand.
Yeah, so I think prison rape is a separate issue that needs to be solved on its own. But yeah, I think prison should be a place where men and women live together in harmony and learn how to fucking read or make stuff or whatever it is we need to do to people to make them better
people,
not to torture them. So, but like if the inherent point of prison is to torture people. Well, then why shouldn't we want women to get raped in prison? If the point of prison is to get people to get raped, which it seems to be, then we should want women to get raped in prison. We should want everybody to get raped as much as possible in prison because that seems to be the point. And if it's not the point, then it shouldn't happen. And so I think it shouldn't be the point and it shouldn't happen. I guess that's my...
Well, yeah, of course. I don't think anyone... I mean, I hope there's not anyone that actually believes that.
I think they do.
You think people want people to get raped?
Yeah, don't you just see, like... As
Well, I
comments
mean, if
of
it's like
like,
a child molester,
don't
I'm,
don't
like,
don't
not
drop
mad
the
about it.
soap, buddy. Yeah.
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 There's certain situations where I wouldn't wish for it on anybody, but I wouldn't be mad about it. We'll just say that.
See? Well, so
I
so
think if
for
you
every
rape someone,
every
you
person.
deserve to be raped back. That's just my opinion.
Well, that's insane.
I don't think it's insane.
It is
I think
literally
if
insane.
well, that's fine. You can think that. I think
like,
if you
no
cause that
damage.
amount of bodily harm on somebody, then you deserve to have it back.
Okay, so if you believe in prison, this should be a place of retribution. Then so if a woman rapes a man or a child, then why not throw her in the men's prison so she can be raped?
Forever,
Oh my
like
God.
all. Well, that's the thing. Like.
Oh no, okay.
how would you
Well, yeah, it'll be a field trip. We'll say, hey, listen, we gotta throw you
go
in
for a
the.
day.
Yeah, you go for a day, and we'll see what happens. And if
We'll see
it
what
seems
happens.
if it seems like you've been raped the appropriate amount, then you can go back to the women's.
Yeah, that's the thing. It would be hard to determine what the appropriate.
How
punishment
how
amount would
much
be,
rape?
Right?
Right.
Well, I know. That's what I said.
hard-
That's why I said I
hard to
wouldn't wish it on
quantify.
somebody, but I wouldn't be upset about it.
Well, you said you think they deserve it.
I do, but I still don't want. I still wouldn't want them. I wouldn't want anyone to experience more pain in their lives. You know.
Just rapists.
No, I don't think it's. I wouldn't be. I would understand. I understand why it would. Here's the thing. I guess I could say it this way.
Okay.
How do we? I guess the question would be maybe. How do we get more people to stop raping?
By raping them.
Is it to
Clearly, by raping them. The solution
I mean,
to
that's what you would say. That's what I'm trying to say, but I don't know if that's the actual. I don't know if that's the actual way to go about it. I don't know if that's actually the way to fix it, right?
I don't know that rape is going to fix the problem of there being too much rape.
Right.
But do you have any other suggestions?
I have no idea. I don't have any research in that field besides friends of mine that have worked in prisons and have told me stories. I've had friends that are prison guards, but I've had tons of friends that are cops that tell me stories too. About like housing projects and people taking advantage of women and such. Prostitution, all this, typical shit that goes on in lower income areas. I don't know. I would like to see more research on that developed, I guess.
Rape
it would be nice to
experiments.
see a rape experiment. No, it would be nice to see
Yeah.
like what these people are lacking in their lives or in their minds,
makes
or
them
if they're
into
just mentally
rapists.
disturbed, why they feel the need to rape somebody, right? Like what's actually wrong with them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. There's a
Like,
yeah.
is
There's
it
a few.
actually just a mental illness? Like, I don't know. Then maybe just, I don't know. I
There's
don't
a-
know the proper punishment.
there's
That's a
like-
very tricky thing.
I think I just don't believe in punishment.
What?
Period. I don't think anybody should be punished for anything.
I can't agree with that.
Well, I see that.
Yeah, I can't agree with that. I think if you don't punish anybody, I think you don't think most people will just live frivolously and just do whatever the hell they want? If there's no punishment,
Well-
if there's no law?
No, I think there should be a law, and I
So
think
then what
that
happens if you break the law? If there's no punishment, there's no law.
if you break the law, I think
The
it
whole
should
point
be.
of breaking the law is there's a punishment attached to it. Or a fine.
Yeah, well, there's more. There's the stigma that you broke it, that you're convicted. You
But it
have
doesn't matter.
conviction.
Stigma is stigma. People are crazy. They're going to do it anyway.
I don't know. I think there's a decent number of people who would not want a rape conviction on their record, even if they served no time. I think there's some people like that, right? I think there's things people.
mean,
This
yeah,
is
yeah,
so
of course.
silly.
Some
This
people-
is
Okay,
not
so
true. This is so
okay.
dumb. No.
So I
what?
also think that people are very likely to reoffend after getting out of prison. So I haven't seen
That's
evidence
true.
that makes me think that
That
punishing
kind of
people.
punishment works. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't think the current punishment we have works. I think if you need to be removed from society, if you've shown that you just cannot stop raping people, you just can't get enough, and nothing else works, then you should be removed from society and put in the equivalent of a padded
So what you're
life.
saying is give them
Removal.
all, like one mistake pass, so to speak.
You get one free rape, and then everybody will be like, "Well, who are you going to use yours on?" No, I don't think
I mean,
that works.
That's kind of what you're saying, though, right?
I don't. Yeah.
That you don't think that sounds insane? Like it's.
Well, any celebrity, yeah. No, that does sound insane. I see what you're saying. I think that mandated therapy or treatment. I'm all about the government
tricky part
forcing.
with that is there's a lot of people that rape that are sociopaths, right? Or that are narcissists.
Yeah, so if a therapist evaluates you and says, this person is going to take a long time to get better, or it just isn't, then yeah, I then remove them from society. But then it's like, well, we're going to remove you from society for 7 years, and then you can go rape another person, then we'll do it again. That's not really a solution either. I just feel like we don't have a solution. But I think, yeah, whatever you need to do to treat the person, make their life better, or give them whatever they're missing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and then there's
if there was proof that whatever you're saying is the way to do it, then I would be for that. Doesn't mean that I think people getting a free pass is the way to go.
No, I don't like the idea of a free. I don't. It's not. Yeah, it's not that I want people to have free passes.
I know that's not what you're saying, but
yeah.
If it was to help, it's kind of like, the saying. What is it? There was a saying in a movie: "Kill one, save millions," or something like that. It's like the idea of hurting one person, and then fixing that one person that did the hurt to prevent more people from being hurt, type of thing. Yeah. That's like another argument, I guess, but I wish none of this had to happen, right?
You believe in the death penalty?
I don't know how to answer that. I mean, I think if you're like a fucking serial killer, if it was premeditated murder, and you're not,
a man rapes and eats a school bus full of children. Should he be put to death?
I would want him off the planet and not have to spend money on him. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I think it costs us more to execute somebody than it does to imprison them for life. Not positive about that, but I think just because of all the appeals and the court shit.
The court stuff that has to go through.
It just takes and then it takes like decades or whatever to actually get to the part where you have
to go through. Right.
Yeah. But
take them back and shoot them. I don't know.
Well, yeah, but you got to let them try to prove that they didn't do it.
Right. I know.
Yeah. So I would say I don't believe in the death penalty.
And why don't you believe?
There's an item called witching branch that can be used to turn idle
I feel like the government should not kill us.
Worth looking into too.
I guess.
Alternatively, get gut scrub.
Okay, so, the reason to kill the school bus eater is because it feels good to kill him. That's why. There's no other reason to kill him. Like, if it doesn't save money, let's say hypothetically, it doesn't save money, and we can keep him in prison, isolated, and give him a fine life. It's like a hotel room, and he just watches the magic school bus and jerks off and orders appetizers from room service for the rest of it.
So what you're saying is the fact that he killed these kids and ate them and whatever, it's not going to bring them back. So the only reason we would kill him is because it makes us feel good.
Yeah, it feels good to kill. An issue. Right, exactly. And we're killing him for the same reason he ate those kids, because it feels good for us. Because we're like, feel really fucking good is to kill this guy. And then it's like, well, did we have a pre-existing urge to just kill some sick fuck? And we're like, perfect, we got one. Or is it like...
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I don't know how to answer that. I mean, I feel like at that point, if you're just like an absolute strain on society, and you're doing nothing but hurting people, like you should be gone.
But dead?
Yeah, I do. Like if you're literally killing somebody, if you're killing kids, if you're raping kids, if you all this kind of stuff, like, yeah, that's just my opinion.
I understand.
I mean, obviously, we all wish that it just none of that happened in general at all. But that's not the world we live in, right?
No.
It's tricky. And I mean, who knows? Like in 10 months, 2 weeks, whatever, my opinion might change. There might be new information that comes out about a study in prisons or whatever the hell it.
A study shows that killing people does not actually make them. Whatever, it doesn't cure them.
I don't know. We never know.
I feel like it's purely emotional. I guess that's why I like talking about the death penalty, because they stop existing after you kill them.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I just don't know. People want to see justice is really what it is.
Is that justice?
I don't know. I think if somebody...
You're like Batman. You're very revenge oriented.
Me?
Yeah.
I don't know if it's revenge as much as it is, like, in my head, fairness. Like, want tit for tat. Like, if you kill somebody, why shouldn't you be dead? You took somebody's life. What makes you deserving of life then? Purposefully took somebody's life, right?
Wouldn't it?
It's different if you're in a car accident, God forbid, somebody hits somebody and they die. They didn't know they weren't trying to kill them, right?
Yeah.
But like premeditated, with like, or just having the intent that, like, even if you don't kill them, you could try. Well, if you're trying to kill somebody and you don't want, and you wind up not killing them, that's you definitely deserve to be in jail, at least for a long time. Because that's just, I don't know. But then again, you know, what did that person, if somebody did something to deserve it, what did that person do? We don't, like, who the hell knows, right? Because there's that situation too, like, oh, somebody killed him, and then now I want to kill him because he killed him.
Right.
Right? That's a whole other argument, but, you know, that's more of the tit for tat argument too, though. Like, he deserves to die because he killed somebody that I love.
Yeah, but what about when eye for an eye leaves the whole world blind? Do you think that?
Yeah, I don't know.
Take my money.
I don't know. I think we just maybe the argument or the discussion we should be having is like mental health, because big issue in this country right now is mental health, like big. And I think if we got that under control, and I think we wouldn't even need to have these conversations in the future, you know, like, or less of them. Just like, to me, like, that's like the abortion argument at the moment. It's like, we have so many different forms of birth control at this point. Condoms, right. Actual birth control, pills, you know, things that go up in the vagina, like all these crazy things. Like, why do we even need abortion at this point? You know? I mean, usually it's because of stupid people that don't use these things that are at their they're easily available to them, right? They're ready to.
Okay, so that's kind of that's a slightly right-leaning description of people who need abortions as stupid people.
Well, stupid.
You sound like Steven Crowder.
Decisions. Well, yeah. I mean, if you make a stupid decision, right? Unless you're like, it's different if you use all of these things at your disposal. Like right now, we have I mean, of course, like hopefully, right? Every time, hopefully. As time goes on, there's never going to be a time in the past where medical devices or medications
are as good
better, right? As good as right now, right? So, with all of that, like I said, with all of that at these people's disposal, and they're still not using it to their advantage, and a lot of it's free, especially
sounds,
like loading,
I get what you're saying. It comes off as harsh though. Like, I don't think so. When I think of like people
I'm pro-choice for the record, but I'm not pro-choice every single time. Yeah.
Well, it's like your
How
policies
did that hit
are
through my bubble? What?
But the way you talk about like poor people getting pregnant is.
I didn't say poor people. I said people that are making stupid decisions.
Well, who do you think those are? Rich people making those decisions?
I think it could be anybody making stupid decisions.
Well, who do you think on average is getting like accidentally pregnant? The most, I would say. I think it's poor people.
Statistically, it's black women. In poor neighborhoods. That's statistically.
Right. So I'm saying you sound more like a conservative when you're talking about these black women making these stupid decisions, when it's like you have every opportunity at your disposal. Why don't you get a scholarship and go to college? Instead, you got fucking knocked up. Like that. That sounds like a conservative. Not necessarily
go to college. It's that.
Well, yeah, but you get what I'm saying. It sounds like
in those areas. If they need more education in those areas.
Well, if they need more education in those areas, that sounds more like a leftist perspective. But if you start going back to calling it stupid,
that's why I'm in the center, right? I kind of go in both.
So your solution is progressive, but I'm saying your empathy level sounds like Steven Crowder. If we're calling poor black women who get pregnant stupid,
no, I'm not calling them. I said stupid decisions.
Okay,
I don't think they're stupid. They made a stupid decision. That's a stupid decision to not have sex.
I don't think it's true.
That's fine. Then
I
think it's a stupid decision.
Yeah, I think that these black women in these poor neighborhoods.
Why does he racialize it?
I think that they don't have the mindset. They might have external access to the resources. If they do, I don't know. I'm sure they have less. I mean, like in my high school, there was
at least in where I'm from in New York City, there's tons of free birth control and condoms everywhere. You just have
my doctor.
My
doctor started giving me condoms when I was 8.
8?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
What?
Wow, it's young.
Well, I was jealous of my sibling.
Of your older brother or something?
Yeah. So I was like, give me some fucking condoms. And my doctor said, okay, fine. So I learned how to put on a condom.
And you're in your wallet for like 15 years. And you're like, what?
No.
You used it right away?
Well.
Would you like blow it up?
I practiced. I was like, I'm going to learn how to put on a condom. So I had like my sex book and I read it and I learned how to put the right side out. And if you put it on the wrong way, you can't just flip it around. I learned all the rules. You know, leave a room at the reservoir. You know.
Right.
Yeah. And so, but like, is your average black woman in these poor neighborhoods, are they getting a paper bag full of condoms from their doctor when they're 13 or 12?
Don't know.
I don't know either. I don't know either.
Yeah.
But and then like we had condoms at school and blah blah. So I'm just saying that like I don't know that. Yeah. So I don't know if they have access to the same external resources, but I'm also pretty sure they don't have access to the same internal resources. And
if they don't, they should.
But so but I'm saying if
that's
you're
not the issue then. The issue wouldn't be about.
I just don't think it's fair to call it a stupid decision if you don't have the same information or the same.
I mean, you both agree it's a stupid decision. It's just that they don't have the resources to make a stupid decision. This is so semantic.
That just because they're black, they don't know any better.
No, I don't think it's because they're black. I don't think they fucking genetically don't know any better. I think it's
because they're poor.
I think it's because they're poor. Yeah.
Okay, so it's a class issue thing for you.
I believe that. Yeah, I've never met a wealthy black woman, and I've met quite a few, who got pregnant by accident. That I know of.
That's fair, and I think that's probably very true.
I've met.
I think that, at least, like I can only say my experience in New York City. That's where I grew up.
It's the thing. He's doing the.
Just keep getting spam calls. From what I remember.
Super dead.
Most of the like HIV prevention stuff and STD tests and even the COVID, all that COVID stuff was mainly only in lower class neighborhoods, because New York City is usually actually pretty good with health stuff. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to remember, like growing up, I remember. In high school, a bunch of friends of mine, all we had to do was go to the gym, basically, go to health class, and they would give us stuff, right? We weren't in a poor neighborhood, but there were definitely lower class people that attended my school, because in New York City, there's school choice. You know, you can live in a poor neighborhood, but go to a school in a wealthy neighborhood, or I lived in a middle class neighborhood. So I had my friend Tashana, she wasn't poor, but she lived in a lower class neighborhood. And she traveled maybe like 40 minutes on the train every day, came to school, because she knew my school was a better school than the one in her neighborhood. So, you know, she had a better education for the most part, but she had to travel for it, you know? I think, I don't know, I think it does have to do with lower class, because there was a lot of people in, like Sheepshead Bay in Brooklyn and like Garrettson Beach, who definitely would be considered like white trash neighborhoods type of thing in Brooklyn, that would get pregnant at a young age too. I think that might come down to just having better like, how can you have a better parent?
What?
It's like you kind of just get what you get, right? I mean, after school programs and stuff like that help too, which might be a very quote progressive view of mine.
Yeah.
But I mean, I went to
you
them.
sound more
programs.
empathetic now.
Well, I am. It depends on the situation.
Every person I've ever known who's gotten an abortion, like every friend, I think was a broken condom or a failure of birth control. I don't think
it's
I've
safer
ever
to jump his stomps.
I think I've had two close friends.
It looks like the stomps do huge AoE damage, like in the
times,
air. Are they really just ground damage? It doesn't look like it.
They were trying to use birth control.
And I think if that's why I'm pro-choice. I think that if you've tried and you did everything quote the right way, like you got to have some leeway, right? But not necessarily, because I do understand people on the right's perspective of pro-life.
Do you think that your being a lesbian has anything to do with your lack of empathy for these penis-obsessed women who impregnate themselves?
Impregnate themselves?
Yeah.
I don't know. I just wish.
As you ostensibly have no desire to play with the fiery dangers of sperm. Do you think that precludes you from? And that precludes you from opening your heart to these
women?
These young ladies? Yeah.
I don't think that's what it is. I really don't. I think there are, you know what it is, honestly? I think when I sit here and think of what you're saying, I obviously can be very empathetic, but then I do see these crazy feminists on Twitter, and you can't lie, they're real. Like, literally, there's a photo going around of a woman that said, I've had 27 abortions, wearing a t-shirt, all proud of it. I don't think that's right either. You know what I mean? Like, I think you have to find some middle ground here.
I would call that person mentally ill, not stupid. Like clearly,
Probably,
if you've had 27 abortions and you have it on a t-shirt, I would say.
Yeah, but that's a lot of what's happening right. Well, that's a lot of what's being shown right now, not necessarily a lot of what's happening.
Yeah, but we always take the most mentally ill person and say, look, it's a feminist, and when it's obviously just some fucking crazy person, and then just like retweet it 500,000.
But they're toting the label and whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've always been pro-choice, but I don't think, like I said, I don't think we should be just having abortions every 5 minutes, you know?
I think it's generally more fair.
I think
so because we know that these messages are memes or whatever are taken, the worst examples taken from the left and retweeted by the right, and then the you know what I'm saying, and then the left takes okay. But like, and then you could say that's a straw man. It's like a real feminist is not. We don't think of somebody wearing that shirt. That's like what a conservative thinks a feminist is. It would be more fair to judge conservatives by the things that conservatives retweet, and judge liberals by the things liberals retweet. You know?
Fair. I think that's fair too. It's understandable. Yeah. I just wish I wish there was a pill where somebody could take, and then it was 100% effective type of thing, and everybody could have it, and everybody would use it all the time when they needed it. But it's free. You have free will.
A pill that makes you into a lesbian.
No, a pill that makes you not apt to being pregnant.
Makes you infertile.
No, not infertile. Just,
bulletproof.
Not in the mood to have sperm in your vagina that's gonna impregnate you.
Yeah, I see.
Yeah.
I wanna. Do you want to talk about pedophiles?
I mean, we can. I only have like another 10 minutes though, so that's all right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's fine. Whatever. Yeah.
We can have a quick conversation though. Yeah, sure.
I've watched your video about pedophilia, and I think I agree with it.
Oh my god, I don't know when to jump.
I forget what I said. What did I say? I don't even remember what video it was.
You said that you think the age of consent should be lowered to 12, and that you think pedophiles are a legitimate sexual orientation, and it should be LGBTP, I think.
I did not say that.
Really? No, I'm just kidding.
No.
You said that pedophiles.
I did not say any of that.
I know you didn't say that. I was joking.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you said that pedophilia is a mental disorder, and that it's an attraction to children. It's different from child molestation.
Yes, I do think I think a pedophile is very different than an actual child molester.
I think so too. And you said that you are concerned with the term MAP.
Yes, I'm only concerned with it because
it's normalizing
what it might cause. If being easier and being nicer about the term we call these people, if that is going to make them less likely to offend, then I'm fine with calling them that. But if I guess the question is, what's more likely to get them to get help? Right, exactly. So there's a certain amount of destigmatization you want to shoot for, because you don't want them too scared to get help, but you also don't want it to be like cool. You don't want it to be cool. You don't want to make it cool. Exactly. Okay, I think we agree on everything there. I have another question I want to ask you. It's kind of more personal. Are you okay with that?
We got to ask the question first,
okay.
Right?
I think your channel used to be kind of pornographic. Mm-hmm. Do you agree with that characterization, or do you think that's unfair? Define porn. I didn't have sex on camera. That's I'm defining porn by what people are doing while they're watching it, rather than what people are doing on the camera. That's not fair, because people get turned on by anything. Yeah, but okay. No, that's not a fair. I don't think that's a fair argument. People jerk off to like rubber. There's people that are attracted to balloon animals. Okay, so for the first time I wear rubber gloves on my channel. Sure. Mm-hmm. And then I notice the video gets 9 million views. And then I'm like, well, I'll just wear rubber gloves on every channel. At that point, I would say I am transitioning into making porn. I might not have known I was making. Okay.
But I would disagree with that. I think porn is
Are you
is
comfortable?
strictly people having sex on camera.
Wait, what? Hello?
No, you don't.
Transform.
Yes, I do.
So you think
Porn
if
is-
Oh my god.
you think if somebody
dude, I don't know
is
what
like,
he's, I don't
"Oh, I'm
even know
not
what's
having sex
happening
on
right
camera,
now.
I'm just pulling. I'm just.
I guess 'cause he was starting a
showing
combo, he was
everybody
just in
my
it the whole
ass
time?
or something. Like like I'm just on Instagram. It's just a try-on haul. You don't think that's porn?
No, I think
Why?
porn is the act of because that's.
What about if you masturbate on camera? Is that porn? Okay.
I see what you're saying.
Are you? Yeah, I hope so, because I think that.
Yeah, no, I think so. I think that would be considered porn because.
Are you
that would-
defining porn just to exclude your own content? It's
No,
okay if you make
because-
porn. I'm cool with it.
No, I don't make porn. I'm not saying that. I don't think I make porn. I don't think I ever have. I think there's a big difference between showing off your body and masturbating, and I think there's a big difference between talking about sex and actually having it on camera.
But you've done
Big difference.
your content has gone further than talking about sex. I would say it is pornographic.
I disagree. I
Well, can I-
disagree.
Okay.
You couldn't think it. I'm not ashamed. It is what it is. Like I've talked
Okay.
about sex toys and
So
stuff, but
so
I don't,
so I was like,
if it was pornographic, it wouldn't be allowed on YouTube. We don't
Ah.
get naked. We
Ah.
don't actually engage in sexual
no,
acts.
you do get naked. You just don't show it. There is naked people. There just doesn't show their genitals. But look.
Where? What video?
Gay man shows his penis to a lesbian. Okay, look, I sorted your
That
channel.
wasn't my video. Oh, yes. I see what you're saying.
Oh,
but
that
wasn't, to me,
one.
that's not porn. That was educational.
You think it got 27 million views because people are like, oh, I really want to get educated. Please.
Yeah, I do because it's
No.
lesbian with gay guy. That's not who's that going to turn on? Honestly, is that going to turn a straight guy on?
yeah.
Lesbian looks at gay guy's penis.
Yeah.
No, is it going to turn a lesbian on? Absolutely.
Why
not.
do you think?
Is it gonna turn a
You know
gay
what?
guy on? No.
I sorted your. This is gonna get weird. I sorted
That's
your
fine.
channel. Okay, I sorted your channel by popularity,
Yeah, I know. It's fine.
right? And
Yeah,
so
of course.
and then
I know
and
it's all popular.
it switched from politics to pornography in my mind. It was like women
Yeah, that's
taste their
fair.
own vagina. Women taste their own vaginas. And then I was like, wait, this has a red line on it. I was like, I've already watched this video. I've already watched the gay guy showing his penis to a lesbian video.
It's an old video. Yeah, it's my friend. Well, ex-friend of mine. Yeah.
Yeah, and I wasn't watching it for entertainment. I was like, like you see the thumbnail of a woman looking at a man's penis, and it's like,
Click on it.
I had to.
Oh yeah, I would too. I mean, that's why I liked making the video. But I don't think bodies have to be inherently sexual, and I think
It's
sitting there and
sexual.
talking
You made
about-
it sexual.
I disagree with that.
Watching
I
you don't
those
think
videos-
watching women taste their own vaginas is inherently sexual.
Oh no, I thought you were talking about the one where I looked at
Either
kid's
one.
kid's
Either one.
penis.
Yeah, whatever.
Disagree. I don't think that was sexual at all.
Tasting
I think
your own vagina
I'm a lesbian. He's
is
a gay
taste-
guy. No, I disagree. There was nothing sexual about that. We were not.
Okay, I
attracted
don't
to
think
each other.
anyone's really gay.
We're gonna disagree on that too. Then
I don't believe that.
You don't
I don't believe
disagree?
it. I don't see how it's
That's fine.
possible.
I don't either. I just know that it is. So
I don't think anybody's really straight either.
well, it's a spectrum. Is that what you believe?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
But I don't
agree
think
with that.
I don't think anybody is totally disinterested in penises. You can't be.
Disagree with that.
How could you be? I don't get it. Is it revulsion or just a?
I don't know. I just know that that's the way I was made. I felt like that for the longest time.
Like it's indifference or like it's gross?
I think everybody has a different level, like a line. Like, if I'm just looking at a penis, it's like I went to art school. I had a nude model drawing every Thursday.
I used to be a nude.
wasn't
Wait
like,
a second. Wait a second. Wait a second. What art school?
Pratt.
I used to model nude there.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I did.
Maybe I drew your penis.
Wait, I modeled nude there in 2010 and 11.
Nah, I was this was a few years before that. This was in 2005. I was doing this. Yeah, that's great though.
I didn't start till 2010. Yeah, I used to live in New York.
Thank you for helping art students. That's awesome. But yeah,
Okay,
I
and
think
they helped me.
yeah, you pay. Yeah, get paid. Whatever.
Nude modeling is
Yeah.
sexual.
I disagree with that.
Yeah, drawing naked people is inherently sexual.
Again, I disagree with it. I don't think
I know.
bodies have to
I
be
figured
sexual,
you
but
would. Well, they do.
that's fine. You could disagree. It's totally fine. What did we say before about, we were talking about?
Penis revulsion, disinterest.
Oh yeah, it's not like I'm like, ugh. And it's just like, no, I just like, it could just lay there and I'm just like, whatever. Like, kind of just whatever about it. I'm not disgusted by it because I don't have to interact with it. If I had to interact with it, I would be disgusted, yes.
You would be disgusted.
Yes. Yes. It doesn't feel natural to me.
It would be like having some, wait. Can I? I really want to understand this because I don't.
Yeah,
it doesn't make sense to me. It's like you're like a religious person and you're talking about like your faith, and I'm like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. But would it be like, okay, so can I ask you a personal question about this again? Yeah. Okay.
I know what it's going to be. Go ahead.
Okay, if you had to touch like a penis or interact.
How is he even hitting me?
What? Penis? Like a,
I think it's just the
shark,
aura.
like a shark penis or something.
Oh my god, this fight is so bad.
Like, would it feel like that? Because it would feel
how many
unnatural
boss
to
fights
me
are we
like,
until the game is over? If I just do main story boss fights, how many do we have, including the Millennia Girl?
I'm highly interested in human genitals, but you're talking about the way I would feel about like an iguana's vagina.
I don't think that's comparable.
3?
I think.
Oh,
I'm talking about the feeling.
Okay.
No, I know.
The feeling of like I don't really want to go down on an iguana.
No, because it's not a moral thing. Like
no, I don't think it's wrong to go down on an iguana. I'm just talking about my emotional. Okay, a dead iguana. I'm saying my emotional, robot iguana. I'm saying my emotional experience of it would be like I'm just not interested in an iguana's vagina, and if I had to lick it, I would feel grossed out.
Right.
Mel?
I don't feel like that about humans.
What's up? It's not about being grossed out as much as it is being what turns you on.
Oh, I just didn't know who was home.
Okay, but that's what you said it would be. You said you'd be disgusted. That's different from being.
If I had to interact with it, yes.
Yeah, I would be disgusted if I had to interact with an animal vagina, but I wouldn't. But I wouldn't be indifferent. But
I'm indifferent if it's just there. I'm like, okay, whatever. Like I've had gay friends of mine undress, and like I'm like, all right, whatever.
I've seen it. Okay. Do you want to take one question from chat, or you gotta go?
One question, quick. Yeah, I gotta go. I gotta eat dinner.
All right, chat. Give her one question.
One good one.
MrGirl trying to turn a lesbian straight. That's not what I'm saying. That's not. I'm not trying to make her
you're
straight.
Trying to understand it.
I'm trying to say that she already is straight. That's what it is. Oh yeah, we should have talked about conversion therapy. These conversations always take a weird turn. Okay, does anybody have any questions? That's not a real question.
StarCraft 2 after Elden Ring.
Does she hate trans people because no? What's for dinner? Carpet? No.
Keep hating your life.
What is wrong with you?
Andy?
What's for dinner? Carpet.
What is wrong with you people?
Oh my god, it's great. How much do you regret this conversation? I don't regret it. I went to New Utrecht High School. What high school did you go to?
Me?
No, I'm asking the person in the chat. I don't know.
Oh, I see. To see if you went with them.
I just thought it was
okay, here's a good question. Does the hate from the left hurt you?
Excuse me.
I talk about getting my feelings hurt a lot, so
not anymore. It doesn't hurt me anymore. It hurts me. It did hurt me when people legitimately think I'm a terrible person. But now it's just like they're gonna, in my opinion, they're just probably gonna think that no matter what. And I stopped trying to appease. I just strictly go by what I actually believe in now. And that might change depending on the topic. It might change depending on the year or what new information comes out.
You're saying that trying to appease...
There was a time where I made a video with a trans woman who was an MMA fighter. And at the time, there was very little information. There was very little, I guess... not statistics, but very little research in how much of an advantage trans women had, depending on how long they've been on hormones and such. And at the time, some of the doctors said there is no advantage if they've been on, estrogen or testosterone blockers for a certain amount of time. Blah blah blah.
It obviously seems not true.
Well, now I know, but now
we know it's not true. But at the
Now, but back then I was like, oh, well, I guess if it's this and this and this, then it's fine. But now I'm like, well, now the more information came out, I'm like, no, well, now it's showing the opposite. So now I disagree with that. So.
And trying to appease them opens you up to being hurt more. Is that what you're saying? And now you're saying like, fuck it.
No, well, yeah, that too. But it's not about appeasing anybody. It's about what I'm actually. It's always been about what I actually believe in, but it changes. And when you change your opinion, people think you're grifting, or they think that you're lying or manipulating being manipulative. And it's like, no, people can just change their opinions depending on where they're at in their life, or like I said, with new information that comes out. And that's, you know, I'm doing it publicly, so of course it's gonna be open to criticism, which I'm fine with, but it is what it is, you know.
Yeah.
But this was a good chat. I really actually enjoyed it a lot.
I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, I did.
I couldn't tell, because I can tell that you wouldn't want to appear that you. People are always like, "Oh, it's fine, just disagree with me. We can fight, whatever. I'm totally comfortable with it." And then like you find out afterward, like how they really felt, you know. So I'm happy to hear that.
No, I don't care. I mean, I don't have an ego like that. I think agreeing to disagree is simply just all you're gonna get with the only place you're gonna get with some people, and you just have to accept that that's where they're at, and that's it.
Okay, well, thank you for coming. Thanks for going along the roller coaster of questions. I appreciate it.
There's a lot of interesting questions. Yeah.
I know. Yeah. Well, I'll talk to you later, and thank you for everything.
Yeah, thank you so much, and thank you everybody for writing in the chat. All right, be good, okay?
Happy to do that. You too.
I know. Good night.
Good night.
Night. Bye.
Bye. Why are people being mean to her? Is it because you think she's transphobic? I see that she's divided the chat. She was a good sport. She was a good sport.
Oh my god.
Thank you, Rugal Migdal. Another extremely entertaining stream. Thank you. You're welcome. Wait, why are you saying hi Destiny and hi Steven? Is he here? Oh, he's watching. Oh, hey. Hey, Steven. Is it weird? Does it feel like the TV's talking to you? Are you playing Elden Ring? What are you doing, buddy? Both have strong honesty. Yeah. Try. Really try. Oh, Brittany Simon just DM'd me and said that she was friends with her. She used to be friends with her. That's interesting. I'm going to talk about it. He had it playing on a stream fully. What did he say about it? Yes, I think you and she was transphobic in this conversation. Who is Steven? Steven is Destiny. Yeah, I flirt with Destiny once in a while. He warms my heart. What can I say? I really disliked your prison comment. You disliked me saying that if I had to choose one or the other. The Apprentice 007, $5. I hear it's amazing when the famous purple stuffed worm in the. I don't. It's not really anything against TOS in this, but I feel like if I read it, it's not a good idea. Oh, who is Destiny? Destiny is a streamer and a fiend. And one night, he platformed me. I don't know much about her, but Steven Crowder is a massive red flag. She was very careful talking about it. I couldn't even get her to say that he's secretly gay. I feel like that's something that even his friends would say.
God, this cancer.
I like that you point out that prison rape jokes are common, but actually pretty shitty. Yeah. Yeah, I can see you wouldn't like that answer, but what am I gonna do? I mean, I feel like it's an interesting question. It's like, ultimately, where do you fall? Would you put all the trans women in the men's prison, or would you put them in the women's prison? And it's like, I guess the TERFs say you have to put them in the men's prison. The progressives say you have to put them in the women's prison, and I feel like it's a good litmus test of where are you at? Did you like getting platformed? Oh yeah. Will we ever get back to Vosh? I don't know. Apparently he's considering talking to me. What even was that last super chat? It seems so subversive, yet nothing edgy was even said. I know, I just couldn't say it. Yeah, but you just said no one's really gay, so there's that. I don't think anyone is really gay. I honestly don't, especially gay. Like, I don't think anybody's really straight. When you're having sex, you're somewhat aroused by your own body. When you're looking at porn, even if you're a straight guy, you're looking at a big dick. And then, so like that, it's like, to me, being attracted to men is part of being straight almost. It's like, if you're disgusted by penises, I don't see how you can really like be present or enjoy sex. Max, you're wrong. I'm 100% straight. Spectrism is your religion. No, you're 100% gay, if anything. If you're 100% anything and you say you're 100% straight, you're 100% gay. Vosh is still pedo-jacketing MrGirl. Well, I'd love to talk to him about that. That's another spectrum that I'd like to talk to Vosh about, or finish talking to Vosh about. I missed what you said about trans people in prisons. Could you reshare your thoughts? I said if you had a big lever and you had to shove it one way or the other with no talking, no hypothetical additions, no weaseling, would you put trans women in the women's prison, or would you put them all in the men's prison? And we're defining trans women as anyone who says they are a trans woman. So by self-identification, and okay, let's give it let's say anyone who said they were a woman or trans woman before they were convicted and sentenced. So we agree, like, let's not make it too difficult or too easy to decide by saying people who say they're trans as they're being walked into the prison. Which would you do? Would you put them all in the men's prison or the women's prison? I feel like either way, you're making a difficult decision, and you're making sacrifices, obviously. And I think it's a good question to ask of just like, I think it's a nice question to ask because it even, unless you're like the turfiest turf that ever turfed, you're going to hesitate and you're going to be like, well, it forces you to kind of empathize with the other side by making a very unempathetic decision. Far on the spectrum would be effectively gay, says Slaps McGee for $2. Update us on the doll. The doll hasn't moved. At all. That's what's great about it. I don't have to think about whether the doll is moving my shit around in the fucking living room, or whether it's eating my fucking special high-protein ice cream that I bought for myself. The doll is right where I left her. In the closet. I'd advise to just stay out of jail, yeah. I spent one night in jail and it sucked. Yeah. Destiny and I got into it a little bit last night about compliments. He said, you're smart enough to know how fucking stupid that is after I said something, and Destiny's never spoken to me like that. Reminds me of a song lyric. He hit me and it felt like a kiss. Wouldn't you be... She's actually in my walls. The doll seems emotionally distant. It seems like that for now, but once I get the right lighting going and the right rhythm going... The doll is jiggly. What's the name of the high-protein ice cream? It's Fairlife. So... shit, what's the one called Aqua Zero? Or something? Arctic Zero. Highest protein to calorie ratio, but tastes completely like shit. And then you got the one in the middle. Fuck, what's it called? I don't remember. This one, okay, so this is called, it's Fairlife. The same brand of milk I drank. And I drink a lot of milk. It's like 500 calories per pint, which is a good middle ground because it tastes good. But it's also, I don't know, like 35 grams of protein. I understand not reading the last chat. It was an Metal Gear Solid 2 quote. Just want to support you. Gave up fast food for Lent, and it's only a sacrifice if I don't save money. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. For the $10. $2 from the Clark Hunt. Trial and error, Max. Trial and error. Yeah. Destiny was projecting. I don't think he was projecting because Destiny said he's down to talk.
I was
Call
fucking
him.
rolling.
He can't type. I feel like you're lying. Don't fuck with me. Don't trick me into just randomly calling Destiny. Destiny is still watching us in silence. It's pretty weird. Good. Yeah, Destiny's got a good. At first, I thought it was a poker face. I think he actually is genuinely unfazed by a lot of things. I don't think it's just a poker face. I think if he's still watching us, I am speaking, and his stoic facial expression is genuine. He genuinely doesn't give a shit about what I'm saying. My words are going in one ear and out the other. He doesn't give a fuck about anything I say or think. Nor should he. The doll is voluptuous. Yeah. It's got big boobs. Do you really think every straight man is a little gay? Yes. I actually think that. I think usually if you see a large number of humans exhibiting a behavior, it is likely that the thought that brings them to that behavior exists to some extent in all of us. And then there's no fucking way anybody's 100%
When you realize
gay.
that your streamer put the video
makes
onto
no
mute,
sense.
his
I
children
just don't.
chatters
I
and
can't
his
fathom
iPhone
that
phones work
evolution
like
that would be
the
like,
TV is
oh, we
talking
just
only
took
to
this
video
thing
chat.
that you have to do for the species to survive, and we just reversed it. It's a 100% reversal. You're not at all interested. I think gay people are probably just inhibited from having sex with the opposite sex. I cannot believe there is a genuine lack of interest in it. I think it's probably like there's something that overrides it.
How does it feel to be one of Steven's new Horcrux? Also say it. Come on, Steven, you can beat
Have
Commander
Shaylin and
now.
the doll fought yet? Hello, Stardust. No, I did yell at Shaylin. We were moving the doll, and I yelled at her because she was being controlling. So at first Shaylin was jealous, but what it's turning into is she's trying to have a relationship with the doll that, like, is in between. You know Shaylin. You know how she is. You've seen my interviews with her. She wants to make it. Shaylin gets scared by things. Okay, and like many people, women, and when they do, they want to control things. And then I am particularly averse to. You know what my grandfather said? He said, women get self-esteem by controlling men, and men get self-esteem by not being controlled by women. And the doll is bringing that dynamic out in full force. He's deaf watching. Hop on, King.
Okay.
I'm like a vampire. I need an
I'm
invitation.
dead.
I can't
No,
just
not yet. I should be though.
can't just appear in his doorway. I'm not like that. Why are you ignoring me? I'm not ignoring you. I didn't see your fucking messages, Stardust. Jesus. Slaps McGee, thank you for the $2. I'm not saying that out loud. Thank you for the $2.79, Rugal. I already said that out loud. Will you let Shaylin have a relationship with the doll? I don't think so. I don't think so. At first, I was like, oh, it'd be you know, kind of cool if Shaylin tried out the doll. And she hasn't said she wants to or whatever. But I thought that would be cool. But then I've started realizing the whole purpose of a sex doll is that it's just for you.
I don't know, dude.
And so letting your partner have sex with it kind of defeats the purpose and it makes it into a thing you're sharing. And I feel like there's, especially for the video, and if I want to make a video about, if I'm reviewing the doll and my relationship with the doll, then obviously I need to make it about myself as much as possible. So I don't think sharing it is a good idea. You don't want to end up with a decapitated doll. That's right. We had a call from Advice and Confessions last night. Somebody's girlfriend decapitated their sex doll. I was extremely upset by that. Destiny said call. He has 30 minutes. I need confirmation that that actually happened. So glad Destiny got banned, honestly. Whatever, bro. Oh, because now he's on YouTube. I see. Are you okay with complimenting the doll then? Oh yeah, the doll is beautiful. Doll is a peach. Are you going to talk to or do a video on the pedo hunter dudes from YouTube? I would like to, yeah. I would like to talk to Mama Max. And anybody else who's hunting pedos? Yeah, I've got a whole list of pedo hunting channels that I want to talk to. Does the doll smell like rubber? No. How old is the doll? Probably like late 20s. Pedo hunters? Pedo hunters run sting operations. They make a Discord account or whatever, Tumblr, I don't fucking know. They pretend to be 12 and then they just rope people, or 14, and then they rope you into a sexual conversation, ask you to meet somewhere, bring a camera, film, scream at you or embarrass you or yell at you or ask you why you're such a fucking pedo, and then try to get you arrested with the footage or at least banned. Yeah. I've reached out to Chris Hansen a number of times. He has never responded. I would like to talk to him though. So I'll try again. But yes, I definitely want to have a seat. I have not. I haven't been cornstarching the doll yet because I haven't used it. But yeah, in between uses, I'm gonna start her up. I haven't heard from Shonehead. I don't know enough about Onision to give my thoughts. A lot of dark stories of blackmail with the pedo hunters. Well, I feel like I just want to understand the psychology of somebody. Like, I can understand being like, oh, I really want to stop children from getting hurt. That makes sense, but I don't understand the psychology of wanting to entrap people. I'm anti-entrapment. I feel like you should trick Chris Hansen and do an interview. That'd be funny. I have thought about a few times. Okay, so I've gotten entrapment emails to me where people are trying to trick me into, you know, being a child molester, which I'm not, so it didn't work. But, because I could fucking tell, what I've thought about doing is pretending that I believe them.
Bad idea.
And then
I've thought
mailing
about this
myself
before, but not a good idea.
Certified letter saying
I've thought about it. It's
I
a
don't
bad
intend
idea.
to meet
It's
this
such a
person
bad
for
idea.
sex. But then anybody could do that.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Really
you can't do that.
My point is, I want to somehow...
I get dipshits that try to catfish me as like underage people, and I've thought about what if I play along with it, but I send myself an email first saying like, obviously I know this, but like even if you play along with it and you know people are, like they'll still like try to say that you did. It's not. This is never worth it. You never go down this route.
Trick a pedo hunt, and then we'll just like meet and have a really weird conversation. We'll just chat. The problem is, I'm worried that in order to do that, I would have to commit or appear to commit a crime of intending to, whatever, solicit sex from a minor. So I don't think there's a way to do it. Also, I don't really like the idea of lying and tricking. I mean, the whole point the whole thing I don't like about entrapment is that they're lying to people and tricking people. So it would be kind of dumb to like do it. Back. $5 from Sausage Lord. When you and Steven eventually meet up in person, will you two do a gym session live? Also tell Steven good luck in your fight. A gym session live stream. No. Oh no, there's a fake me in your chat. Wait, there's a fake Stardust? Can't believe trolls out there to pretend to be me. Stardust, if I respond to something that you didn't say, you gotta just DM me, I guess. Oh, film yourself messaging him. Okay, but the problem is, then anybody who wants to actually meet up with a minor for sex can just say like, oh, I'm pretending. And then like if the 13-year-old shows up, you're like, okay, great, I can delete all that footage and just like have sex with you now. And then if a YouTuber shows up, you could say, oh, I was making a video. So it doesn't create I don't think there's a way to really prove it. Maybe if I live stream the whole thing. Would you get arrested for romantic messages but not sexual? No, I don't think so. I know in some state, I think I was reading about the laws in California. You
Mel,
can
could you like
date
just open
and
the
I
oven
think
for me?
kiss minors. So that's kind of weird. I don't know the exact law. I haven't looked into it that much. But my understanding is that the romance is legal, but sexual conversations isn't. Mod fake Stardust. Do not mod fake Stardust. Well, I have to mod one of you. How do I know who? I am Stardust. Okay, Stardust, DM me. I think messages can get you arrested. I think if you have if you sext heavily with a minor, I think you can get arrested for that. Stardust, DM me something you're gonna say, and then say it in chat, and then I'll know it's the real you. And then I'll mod the real you. Sound like a good plan? I feel like we're doing a sting operation right now. So just DM me. DM me like a number, and then just say the number in chat. Would you ever do a boxing match with Destiny? No. No.
Oh
Okay.
my god.
She's DM'd me. I would never hit Destiny. I would hate that. He could hit me.
That's actually the whole
All right,
map.
Dusty, you're modded. Is that fake Stardust is guessing what you messaged me? I now returned into the shadows. Jesus, you're scary. You're like the Thing. Boxing match with Lauren Southern? Oh yeah. I'm kind of pissed at Lauren. I've been meaning to message her after our last talk. About, oh wow, thanks. Hey, see, it's the real Dusty. Yeah, I'm mad that she won't admit that she trusts me. I don't know how else to say it. It really bothers me. It's triggering. I'm mad that she won't admit that she trusts me. I don't know how else to say it. It really bothers me. It's triggering. No, I'm not gonna ban fake Stardust. Besides, fake Stardust has already probably become someone else now. It's triggering for me. It reminds me of my family. This has happened to me a lot, where people... And it triggers me when fans do
He pushes
this
his principles in a too self-righteous
people
manner.
privately
Are you going to give a take
like
on this
me or
transgender
support
culture
me
video?
or believe in me or think I'm a good person or whatever, and then as soon as there's an audience, other people in the room, the rest of the family, their people or their boyfriend or their girlfriend or whatever, I really don't like people's opinion of me that they express tends to
I'm
change
dead. I hate that fucking
to an
move.
extreme degree
God,
depending on
it's
who
so
else is in the
stupid.
room. And find it very, very
I don't know
triggering
if
since it's happened
if
to me
you
my whole life.
hit and he does it, I don't think it's avoidable. Because if you roll the
So
first one,
Lauren
you
doing
can't
that
roll in
shit
time for the
really
second one.
bothers me.
I've died to this fucking move so many times.
Why are you so sure she trusts you? I can just tell. I can feel it. It just feels like whenever the conversation gets... So I don't know. It was very frustrating trying to be as genuine as possible and as vulnerable as possible and honest and like trying to explain myself.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, okay, I can hear.
What do you know about avant-garde art?
I don't know much. I don't know much.
In my opinion, if you are if you're trying to push the boundaries of a medium, I think something that works pretty well is that you generally stay within. You don't break many rules. You follow most of the rules, and then you find like one or two that you really want to break, and then you break those
Yeah.
rules. And that kind of like exploration is exciting because people have like a foundation by which to understand you, but then you have a you got some boundary that you get to push that gives people like a new perspective for something maybe they didn't think about before or something, you know?
Okay, so if you break all the rules, it's meaningless.
Yeah, it's just like a bunch of hogwash.
Or inaccessible.
Yeah, inaccessible is a good word, right?
Okay.
Sometimes I feel like when you have conversations, I understand that you want to push the boundaries, but it feels like you push all of them. And then I think that
we're talking about the stream I just did.
Yeah, and then
that I am doing.
Well, I don't really think you're doing a stream.
What do you think I'm doing?
I don't think you're doing anything.
Are you giving me an example of what it's like to talk to me?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that people will...
I'm following.
Yeah, I think people will respond well if you give them... If you push on like one or two things, but we've kind of talked about this before. They need like some foundation by which they can establish some rapport or trust first so that they know what they're kind of like, they have like a springboard, you know?
Yeah.
So like I think, I'm not gonna remember because I'm playing a video game.
Yeah.
But there were like 10 different things.
I'll fill it in.
There were like 10 different things that you pushed her on. That
So
was
turf definition?
It was like turf definition, it was like nobody's gay, like whatever the prison thing, like there was like over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. Where the idea is like, at some point, I think you wear out a person very quickly because they have no fucking idea. They don't have any frame of reference for what the conversation is or where it's going, you know? Rather than like...
Okay, but...
Yeah, go.
Do you see a problem where if you're a streamer and or a YouTuber and your job is to get in front of the camera and say what you think, where you need a certain context or a certain level of trust in order to do that? Like, whether you trust me is kind of irrelevant because there's like another like several hundred to 1,000 people watching. So what does
Okay,
it
if
matter
I were to
you trust-
ask you if you've ever had an attraction to an underage person before, would you answer that question if I asked you?
The answer is yes.
Okay, but when Fnatic or somebody else asks you don't want to answer that question, right? Because you trust that I'm going to deal with your answer in better faith than just like screaming pedo, 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 right?
Yes, but that's...
But you're not like compromising what you want to say or your belief. You have like a different...
That's a good point.
You have like a different expectation for how I'm going to treat that conversation, right?
Yeah,
So
because
I don't know.
have a different expectation of why you're asking.
Yeah. Now the Arielle girl was, for whatever faults people give her, was a really good sport. I don't know if it's because she's a New Yorker or what in that conversation, but right at the very beginning, with the Steven Crowder thing, it already came off as like pretty combative, because you know that she's like probably friends with Crowder. She's done a show before, probably has decent opinions of him, and you're saying that you're obsessed with him because he's a type of evil that you see in yourself, right?
Okay, but I feel like if somebody said that to me about you, I would be like, great.
Okay,
Let's
why do
dig
you
into
always...
that. Like, what?
when you
I'd
think,
be like, well, tell me. I'd be like, I see all kinds of evil in Destiny. Let's talk about it.
when you think of
You know?
how other people respond to things, do you always think of like, if somebody did this to me, this is how I would feel?
I see that's a flaw. That's a flaw you're pointing out.
Mm-hmm.
I do, yeah. I mean, like, what's the alternative? That giving the cat a little treat, and then I'm like, oh, can I rub your belly? And then, but like that takes so fucking long.
Well, I mean, that's part of having conversations with people, right? It takes a while, but yeah, I mean, building rapport is a thing you have to do, but it doesn't take, you can do it in like 15, 20 minutes, I think, in a conversation, right?
Okay, but don't you think part of what made us, click the first time we talked, and as far as our conversational styles, is that we didn't have to do that?
Yeah, but like that type of thing is like really rare, right?
Well, yeah, so maybe I'm just dynamite fishing.
But I feel like you have to do some level of investigation before you get to that. Before
I
you
don't
just
think
pop
you or
that
I
on a
really
person.
knew. The only thing I knew about you is that people said you were a pedophile for some stupid reason, and that people said that that you would like talking to me. I didn't like research you. I was just like, okay, let's like talk.
Sure, but like if somebody were to stumble on me and be kind of, I'll say weird, I guess, right? I can handle that because of, why did that one shot me? I can handle that because of who I am. And if somebody does it to you, you can handle that because of who you are. But if you stumble upon any other person
Elden Ring grind
and you
for
do
so
that,
long.
And you, if you do that to every random person though, 99% of people are just gonna shut down, right? So I guess like if the goal is explicitly, if the goal is to just find the people that can handle that engagement, at that point, I feel like you should just drop the act and like open it up really hard and be like, hey, what's up? My name's MrGirl. If there was like a functioning human adult inside of an 8-year-old's body, would you fuck her? And let's say she was the hottest 8-year-old. Like, I feel like you should just open up with that. Because then you'll find out, like, immediately. The person will either hang up, or they'll be like, okay, well, let me think about it, right? So you'll either talk to one of 3 people.
You're saying I need to either do more or less.
Yeah, exactly. Because you're skirting a line right now where, like, if the other person treats you like a crazy person, they can kind of sort of get through with the conversation, which I think Arielle kind of did. But if they...
I have some counter arguments here.
Okay.
Fnatic had already signaled to me that he was acting in bad faith. Not that it was not the topic of the panel that we had agreed upon. It was not. He was not.
Sure, I'm not talking about Fnatic. I don't care about Fnatic. I don't care about Fnatic. We're not talking about Fnatic.
But what I'm saying is, if somebody gets on a call with me and immediately asks me, "Have you ever had an attraction to a minor?" I'll say yes to that. If they have already signaled to me that they're doing it because they're trying to hurt me or grandstand for their audience or some other detestable thing, then I won't answer it. So I would say my default is to enter with a good faith assumption of trust, even though I know it's likely I will be burned.
Sure, but not everybody is like that, right? Most people are mistrusting, especially in the political world. Most people are going to be really mistrusting at the start of a conversation.
Okay, but again, I'm also part of the avant-garde thing I'm trying to do is challenge that, and I want to change the tone of political conversations. I want to push people to be more honest and to normalize just eating bullets, being blunt, and saying the thing that you think if the person asks you, even if you're not sure why they're asking you. Because so much of our time and energy is wasted on listening to people preface every fucking thing they say with a 30-minute monologue about nothing. And so I think in order to push against that effectively, if I start out with...
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. The problem is that in the beginning, you are indistinguishable from a bad faith actor. That's the problem, right? If I get onto a call, if 100 people got into a call with Arielle and they started the call off bad-mouthing Steven Crowder, 99 of them are going to be insanely progressive, trying to nail her on something. That's what the call is going to be with 99 of those people, right? That's the issue. The issue is that if you haven't built any rapport first, if you haven't demonstrated some level of understanding or compassion or whatever, then they're just going to like use a really good heuristic, to be honest, and they're going to make an assumption that most of the time is going to be pretty correct because it's probably served them well. Again, if you've survived for that long in the political world, you probably make judgments about people pretty quickly because you've been fucked over by people pretty hardcore.
Yeah.
So I think that you want to avoid that heuristic, right? That's always like the goal, is to avoid that heuristic, right?
But couldn't you just also introduce a new norm where once you realize somebody's fucking you over, you just say like, hey, you know what? It seems like you're trying to nail me to the wall here, and I don't really want to talk about this anymore.
No, because you become indistinguishable from what you're trying to distinguish yourself from, right? Like, would it be cool if I picked up a Tinder date for the first time, and as soon as she got in the car, I was like, I'm really glad you let me drive because I'm about to drive you into the forest, tie you up, and fucking rape you. Now, that's an extreme joke. I might say that to some friends. I have said jokes like that to friends before, but I would never say that to a Tinder date, a person that I pick up the first time. And if I said that, and then she was like, I want to leave, I can't be like, no, listen, I'm just trying to like redefine like the aspects of like how we flirt with each other for the first time. I think that people are like way too overly cautious, blah, blah, blah. And she's going to say, okay, that's great, but like 99 out of 100 times, that's not going to be a guy pushing the boundaries. That's going to be a guy trying to rape me, right? That's the problem.
Okay, I feel like this is similar to the compliments thing, where you understand that there's a level of cowardice that permeates throughout the political conversations online.
It's not cowardice, though.
It is. I think it is actually cowardice.
It's because you have nothing. Because you come from a different place. I don't know how to make you understand it. It's not cowardice. You're asking a person. Because you don't feel like you have anything to lose in these conversations. You are the fucking North Korean running into an American M350 or whatever, eating 7 million bullets before your body is sliced in half, and you're grinning the entire time, right? Not everybody's like that. That is an incredibly abnormal foundation from which to start.
Yes, that's what I'm saying, is that I think that you and I are similar in that. Not exactly the same, but similar in that we're willing to say, like, okay, I'll hear you out. Like I heard with you with Book Smarts yesterday. You're willing to be like, okay, sure, like I'll follow your train of thought. We'll see where it goes. I have an idea about where it's going, but I'll go with you. And then you heard him out, and you're like, okay, yeah, I think you're full of shit. Like that's my assessment. But you really gave him a chance to show that he wasn't.
But
and
what's
but
their
most people aren't willing to do that.
Yeah, because what do they get for it?
Right, and so my reaction to that is to say, okay, well, fuck you. If we're gonna crash, we're gonna crash. Like I'm not willing to enable you being a pussy just because I know you're likely to be.
But they're not being
one.
a pussy. They're being intelligent.
But,
it's a smart behavior. It is a good behavior for them to do that because the majority
of
why
don't you do it?
Working class
if it's so smart, why don't you do it?
Because I also don't care. I don't give a fuck about any of that stuff. But I'm an abnormal. I'm a different type of person.
You just joined Cozy.
At first, yeah, because I don't give a fuck. Because maybe I can farm. Maybe I can farm a conservative debate star. I think it'd be fun to do it.
I know, but I'm saying that's like that's like the embodiment of.
Sure, but I'm outside of the normal societal norms. You can't look at me and then look at yourself as an example of how you want people to be. Most people aren't going to be that. But like I'm a person that's 33 years in the making. I'm not going to take somebody that's 25 and snap my fingers and switch them immediately. It would be stupid of them to do that. Like how many people would be willing to give up as much as they need to give up to be in a position like you or me? Not many people want to do that.
They're going to have to. They're going to have to, because eventually audiences, like your audience and my audience, are going to start to get bored by listening to people say, oh, well, I guess, when you say a trans woman, so in certain situations, they're going to say, like, you know what? There's a growing number of streamers who just don't do this, and I don't have to spend my fucking day listening to somebody tiptoe around something.
But that's not true, because what you're missing is that, like, even if people know that it's not kind of true, there's like a collective fiction that everybody buys into that makes everybody feel good. And that's the problem. You think it's a fiction that people want to avoid, that's there, it's some necessary evil that people really don't feel an attachment to. But the reality is people love it. Everybody loves playing into the collective fiction. Look at when it comes to the pedophilia stuff. It's such a comforting collective fiction for us all to pretend that like everybody that likes something is super evil and like I can tell what a 17-year-old girl looks like and I know that that's horrible and evil, but that's like a collective fiction that comforts everybody. Like it's not like you've got people who are like, man, I really wish we could all just be more honest with each other. That's scary. There's a lot of vulnerability there. It's way easier to kind of like wear the cloak of society and have everybody else dressed the same way as you.
I think that fiction can be destroyed. I think the cloud can be lifted. And so when if you're saying I'm doing avant-garde art or pushing boundaries, if I follow the norm, then I'm enabling it.
You don't have to follow the norm. You just have to push more intelligently.
How's that different from accepting that, like?
Because you can either if we accept that so here's what you're trying to do. Okay, let's say that somebody lives in a bubble. Okay. You want to come in and you just want to blow it the fuck up. You're like have TNT dynamite and you're like, we're just going to explode this whole fucking thing. Most people will see the needle and they will run. They're not going to listen to you and they're going to go back because there's a lot of comfort existing in that particular bubble. But if you go in and you say, I don't want to pop your bubble, I just want to like expand this one little area of it, you'll have way more success. And that's expanding the bubble is better than doing nothing with it. But like if you threaten to just blow it up completely in the beginning, nobody's going to come along because that's really scary. Like people exist in these domains for a reason, and it's because they provide a lot of comfort. They're not being held captive there, and they're not miserable with the collective fiction that they entertain. It provides them a great deal of comfort and security.
And money.
Sure, money, whatever. Money, social value, family connections, friends, whatever.
I think part of what I'm trying to do in these conversations is make the other person uncomfortable with their bubble. So by saying like, don't you think calling black women who get abortions stupid is a little unempathetic?
Sure, and that would be one good way to push. But when that comes off the back of like, aren't you actually a TERF? Just own being transphobic, and Steven Crowder is the devil, and I see my reflection in him, and I don't think anybody's a lesbian. And then also, let's just talk about your position on black women. Like, it's like that's an exhausting conversation for a lot of people to have. Any conversation that requires a level of introspection about societal norms that somebody's assumed without question is going to be an exhausting conversation. Even to push one part is going to be an exhausting conversation. But to push everything, the person's brain will just shut down. Most people aren't capable of that. It's like it's like, imagine if the Matrix started instead with Morpheus like raping Neo on the street with a red pill suppository. That's what you're trying to do, right? But that's not how the Matrix works. He's like, hey, like, you know, this is, you know, you feel something's off, like, do you want to take this? I can show you, blah, blah, blah. You have to make the choice, right? It was a much more gentler process. Even that was like really vicious in the Matrix, right?
Yeah. But if I did what you're suggesting, and you did what you're suggesting, I wouldn't have a career now. Like the fact that both of us didn't want to do that the first time we talked is why people like that conversation.
Sure, but this is
they
like,
really
now we're
enjoy
like
watching
some
two people.
Huge survivorship bias, though, right? Because say hypothetically, you're saying
I got lucky, and it's time.
Yeah,
to
you
tone
got
it
super
down
lucky,
now.
and I got lucky. I'm not saying you have to turn it down. I've gotten lucky in my life. I mean, you've gotten lucky in your life, like everybody gets a lucky break, right? But I'm saying that, like, if you like, maybe there's a world where you don't push every single thing all the time, constantly, and you know you're able to make a little bit more headway with some people, right? So it's weird because you talk about like your goal is, it sounds somewhat similar to mine, to be able to bridge conversations between different types of people. I think I'm really good at that. I think I'm the best person on the internet at that. Better than any other fucking person. All of them combined, okay? But I think part of what lets me do that is I'm able to meet most people where they are. I think very few people are able to travel far enough to meet somebody on foreign grounds to them and familiar grounds to the other person. I think that's really hard for people to do. But if I were to talk to a person and my immediate goal was to break down 55 different barriers, it's just not gonna work. It's gonna be like a very slow, I have to figure out where the barriers are, then I have to figure out what they believe, and then I've got to figure out, like, well, which one do I want to work on? But if it's just everything, like, the conversation just dies immediately.
I think the barriers can become part of the conversation. My goal, I mean, what's your goal when you're talking to somebody who's different from you? To make them more like you, or just to understand them, or to change their minds about something?
I mean, it depends on what it depends on what the conversation is. In a debate about Ukraine and Russia with Nick Fuentes, my goal is to establish factually that my position is correct. If I'm having a conversation with somebody with a different social background, maybe my goal is to just bring them over a little bit more to, maybe my goal is only to make them understand my side. Maybe I'm not even trying to change their mind. Maybe I'm just trying to make them understand that my side isn't as insane as they think. Or if they're kind of bought over, maybe my goal is to make them realize that, hey, your behaviors are kind of harmful or antithetical to your goals that you're trying to achieve, right? It depends on the person, but it's never like everything. It's never everything at the same time. I feel like you should try it one time.
Oh God.
Just talk to somebody and like.
Honestly, I don't even know if I can.
Have a normal human conversation. You don't think you can do it? You're incapable.
Normal.
Like where when somebody says like when somebody says something like, yesterday I went to the mall, and you're like, that's an incredibly interesting sentence, because I don't believe that yesterday or malls really exist, and I think by the end of this conversation, neither will you.
Okay. Yes, I don't. You know I don't. You know I'm not actually like that.
Like what?
That's the example you just gave.
You are though. You put like when you say things like, when you say something like nobody's actually gay. Here's what you do. You do the thing that people accuse me of doing on Twitter. You take a statement that like most people would probably agree with, but then you phrase it in a way that like 99 out of 100 people will read it in like the most incorrect way possible. Right?
Wait, what people accuse you do on Twitter, or what you actually do on Twitter?
I don't actually do on Twitter, because...
You reject this accusation?
I reject this accusation. I think people are just too sensitive.
Okay, so you don't do it, but I do it, so continue.
Yeah,
people are too sensitive when they hear you call somebody subhuman, but when I say nobody's gay, I should know better.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe we both should know better, Steve.
Subhuman is anybody can be subhuman, okay? But saying like there's no such thing as gay, okay? Well, you know that, and I don't even think that's necessarily a bad thing to say, by the way, but just not to everything. Not when nothing is anything is like, that's the problem. It's just when you push it on every single boundary, I think. But you can also keep doing it. I'm just, you know, why? That's just
partly. I'm just trying to. I'm trying to find out. I'm trying to find out like how. So, I'm not entering the conversation with the goal of I want to push 500 different boundaries on 500 different topics.
Think of it.
Starting out with like.
Hold that thought. Hold it.
Okay, I'm holding it. He's asking you to be more focused in your engagement. I know what he's fucking asking me. He's asking me what people have been asking me my whole life. Don't you think it would be more effective? But I think we have different goals. I think that's what it's going to come down to. Well, there is such a thing as gay. Otherwise, there wouldn't be a word for it. Yeah, I just don't think a person can be entirely gay. I think gay is like an attribute. Like in Elden Ring. Like vigor. Some people have 10 points in their gay stat. Some people have 99. I just don't think it's ever 100.
Okay, what do you... Okay, talk. I'm eating now. What?
Okay. I think if she had been less rigid, I think what I'm trying to do is figure out, is there a topic that we can actually have a conversation about that I'm going to find like interesting, or where that I can connect to you on? Or is the stream going to be interesting because we're not connecting? I feel like one of those. Like, there needs to be some amount of conflict for a conversation to be interesting. We can't just agree with each other.
If that's the goal, then forget everything I just said. If you're trying to create as much uncomfortable Tim and Eric conflict as possible, then
no, I'm not.
You're succeeding in that.
I think the best conversations have conflict, like an argument, like the one we're having now, where both people are thinking on the fly and exploring their ideas and are genuinely listening to what the other person's saying, and they're like both like mildly irritated or something. I think like that's fine. But she started out with like talking points. And I'm digging, all I'm getting is talking points. And then I'm like, okay, listen, I'm willing to say something really weird. Like, I'll talk about eating iguana pussy. Okay? So, like, that you don't have to do talking points.
Yeah, but who are you?
Who
are you? She doesn't care who you are. She, like, for all she knows, you might say really weird shit all the fucking time. Right?
Well, yeah, I guess I do. But my point is, I'm saying, like, well, I'm not doing talking points. I will stray far from. I'll start out by saying I am obsessed with Steven Crowder and he's my nemesis. Like, that's clearly not a normal thing to say, and I'm trying to just set a tone of like, I'm going to say whatever, not whatever I'm thinking, but I will stray outside of. I'm trying to make myself look good like a normal person, streamer, grandstand for my audience contest, and just show that like that's not what I want this conversation to be like. And then I'm just going through topics. I'm like, do you want to talk about what trans women actually are? And then the answer was like, no, not really. And I'm like, okay, well, I'll say what I think. And then she's like, well, yeah, I think that's a good point. And then it's like, okay, now I guess I'll just bring up the next topic.
Here's like, okay, well I'll when you are seeing a girl for the first time, when you are when you're in the back and forth process of flirting with each other and courting each other, right?
Yeah.
There's
a great story that you're gonna hate about this.
I'm sure, about how you fucked a woman who was screaming no the entire time, but you knew she wanted it, and by the end, she realized she wanted it.
Basically.
Yeah, okay. So, part of the game of dating somebody or going out on a first date or flirting with somebody is that you like them some amount, and they like you some amount, but neither of you says it openly, right? And the game is this back and forth trying to explore how much the other person actually likes you. It might be the case that when you meet somebody for the first time, you have amazing chemistry and you're like, I'm like ready for you to move in. Like, I really like you. This has been like one of the most fun nights I've had in my life, et cetera, et cetera. That might be the case that you feel that way, but you don't say that right off the bat, right? Because that's, you're coming on so strong and you're gonna come off as like being like way too creepy. That's not gonna be good, right? The other person might even...
If the person doesn't understand you.
Sure, well, they're not going to because you just met each other. That's the point, right? But as you spend more time with each other, the game changes because both of you kind of show, show each other how much you like each other, and you start to get more of a understanding of that person. They get more of an understanding of you, and then you both become more comfortable over time, kind of exposing some vulnerability to the other person, right?
Yeah.
But there has to be a comfort established for you to show that vulnerability. You wouldn't just do that with a stranger. Why would anybody do that? It would be such a bad idea because most of the time you're going to get punished. That's why people don't like being vulnerable. You get punished for showing that much vulnerability.
So I agree that there needs to be some establishment of mutual understanding and trust for certain things to happen. But
why don't you do that then?
But so so like in China, when I was taking Chinese lessons, they were like, we were all like, how do you say I love you? And they were like, well, here's how you say it, but you don't say that in Chinese. You say I like you. We were like, why don't you say I love you? And they're like, well, a man will tell his wife he loves her maybe once or twice in their marriage.
And you're
And
like,
usually
this is awesome. This is what I'm about.
yeah, and they're like, usually you just say I like you. That's what Chinese people say. I was like, I don't know how true that is, but that's what she was very Chinese, and that's what she said. And so in China, it's a totally different scale of how well you have to know somebody before you reveal your inner self to them. So I agree with you that these things happen. What I disagree with you about is where and when they should happen. You clearly want more trust and good faith from people you talk to than the average person is willing to give, and you're willing to jump through some hoops to get that from them. Mm-hmm. Not as many, but there are times where you are just like, well, if you're not going to understand me, fuck you. And like Twitter's a great example.
On one-on-one,
you're being accused of intentionally having people misunderstand you, but you're clearly not very concerned with people understanding you.
On Twitter. But on one-on-one conversations, never. I take a lot of effort to make sure that the other person, because I'm trying to establish I'm trying to establish one thing, and I want the other person to feel safe to explore an idea around me. If it's like a girl and we're talking like a one-on-one dating environment, you want them to feel safe, like you're not going to rape them. If it's like a conversation, you want them to feel safe that they can expose an idea and not be judged. If it's a political conversation, you want them to feel like they can express doubt about their position and not get jumped on, right? That's the goal. The problem is that people are normally very defensive about their vulnerabilities, right? So I
reject this norm.
But the norm is there because it protects people. It's good for people.
Well, I don't think it is. I think that it does not actually protect people as much as they think it does. I think it makes people look stupid and boring and uninteresting, and it makes it impossible to talk about anything. And maybe you can say this is because I don't need it or want it, and I'm fine with just like the aircraft carrier treatment. But we're both we have to look at. We're both only willing to go so far, and I'm saying that I'm okay with people being uncomfortable because I want to set a different standard of one, people should be more comfortable than they are. They should fucking just like grow some thicker skin and get over it. And two, people should be more okay with these conversations being uncomfortable.
But the problem is until society changes, your prescription is a method for failure. That's the issue.
Yes, that's fine, but I want to change society.
Yeah,
there's no way to change it. There's no way to change this without subverting it.
Okay.
You have to break the rule if you want to change it, right?
Yeah, one rule at a time.
It's the same as the compliments thing. We both feel the same way with the compliments thing. And I'm saying, you're a subversive guy a lot of the time. Why are you playing ball with this thing? Why don't you just say no?
Because I want to build that initial level of trust so that I can get to the part that I want to talk about.
Okay, but we both agree it would be better.
Yeah, but it's not. It's not that way. It's not that way though.
Just don't get on the stream if your assumption is, okay, I'll just say talking points from my political group, and you say talking points from your political group. We'll do that for an hour, and then I'll have dinner, and it'll be like, oh, I'm glad I did that. That's horrible. Like, just don't turn on your fucking webcam if that's what you are gonna do. There's just no point to it. Why are we encouraging the audience to go from streamer to streamer, hearing them say the same things over and over again, and just like, it's like, which face do you want to see the same fucking sentence come out of?
I understand what you're saying, but you're talking way past me, right? You're saying like, it's like you're trying to like roll your toddler around on the street saying like, I think that society, should be paying attention more. I think cars should be careful. People should be careful when they're driving so they're not running over toddlers. And you have like 52 toddlers dying and people are looking at you at the intersection like, what the fuck are you doing? You're like, well, I want society to change. And then you send the next toddler off into the intersection to get ran over by a car.
So you're saying I should be more pessimistic and believe
no,
that
not
things
pessimistic.
cannot change.
I'm saying that you have to... You have to acknowledge that you exist
change
in some cultural context, and that's the context through which you function in. Instead of just
but
pretending.
I want to change it.
Yeah, but you can't change it all at once. Like the way, like I would hope.
Your help.
I would hope that when people come away from conversations with me, they think, "Oh, cool! Like I can have challenging conversations with people on the left or people like this guy or whatever, and they don't have to be like absolutely fucking horrible." That's really cool. I have like that positive impression. But that's only going to happen if I've bought some level of trust with them first. If I just start off with the crazy shit, then we're fucked. But they'll never get that. They'll never have that takeaway. They're just going to feel like it's all crazy.
I want people to leave conversations with me feeling like their ideas about how to connect with other people. If we didn't have a great conversation, if it was conflict, I want them to feel like their ideas about how to connect with other people, how honest they could be or should be or can be, are challenged.
Yeah, you're not going to get that. If that's your goal, it's never going to happen.
I think it is going to happen. I think you're a pessimist.
Have you gotten that to happen with anybody yet but me?
I think so. I think it happened with Lauren, but she just won't admit it.
Okay, this is another thing you have to stop doing. Okay?
She won't fucking admit it.
You have to stop assuming people's mental states.
Well, we agree that that's involuntary. You're saying I should stop saying it out loud. You're saying no.
You're wrong.
You're saying
go
I should
ahead.
stop
You can
saying
say a
it
bunch
out
of shit that's not relevant to the conversation. Go ahead.
You're saying I should stop saying it out loud.
Nope, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm
You're
saying is
saying I
you
should stop
legitimately should stop assuming people's mental states and like make it this
How?
rigid, unfixable thing that won't like change contrary to any evidence presented.
Okay,
right?
let's talk about Bookfucker.
Okay.
Early on in the conversation, you decided, or perceived, I would say, since I also perceived it, and I think we had the same perception, that he was very uncomfortable, scared, walking back what he said, and was going to go jellyfish to get out of the conversation with whatever dignity you were willing to let him have, which was basically zero. That was my assessment of what he was doing. And he said that's not what he's doing. He said, well, my autism, or I must have blah blah blah, I made a mistake. Oh, I can see, that's actually really, could you actually give me some advice, blah blah blah. And like we're both thinking, okay, this is evasion, you're trying to protect yourself, blah 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 blah. And obviously I'm enjoying this because it feels very vindicating, whatever. Your perception of that seemed to hold strong. You were very courteous and charitable, and so you didn't say that's what you were thinking. But in me assuming your mental state, it seemed very obvious that's what you were thinking.
Okay, but what's the...
Are you saying that you're saying that you could have just not thought that?
No, but
you could have just convinced yourself, like, well, I don't know, maybe Booksmarts really did not understand English or the implications of the extremely simple, logical, tautological argument he's making.
No, the
you
difference...
could not have chosen to believe him.
Let me know when you're done.
I'm done.
Okay, the difference was that I was basing my assumption based on a whole bunch of prior behavior. I had a whole bunch of data up to that point that let me make that type of assumption about him. With Lauren, you don't have that same level of information. You're basing it off of like other people, truly. Your foundational assumption, okay, now I'm gonna assume your mental state, okay? So
I see that.
Your
Yeah,
foundational
ironically.
assumption seems to be that you think that if somebody is willing to talk to you on their platform, they must have some level of trust in you. But you've probably interacted with a lot of people who will lie about that because of what it looks like to other people. You don't like that. And so your assumption about Lauren is, okay, this is the second or third time she's talked to you, and she's willing to have you on her stream. And if she's willing to go that far, she probably has a higher level of trust than she's willing to let on. But the problem is there are two things. That's what you think. I know, it's okay. There are two possible explanations for that. Now, on your explanation, you've assumed this is definitely what's going on. But another potential explanation, the one that she was trying to sell you, and that could be valid, is maybe she just likes having challenging conversations on stream. Now, up to that point, you haven't gotten enough information to differentiate between those two possibilities. So that's like a wave function that can't collapse for you yet. And she's trying to sell you on one story, and you're trying to say it's the other, but you have no way to resolve that. You don't actually know. And if she's right, now you're pushing her further and further out of that particular bubble.
Okay. Do you acknowledge that you're moving the goalposts a bit, and you're switching from don't assume other people's mental states? You're saying assume other people's mental states with the appropriate amount of information as defined by me.
Sure. Yeah, sure. Okay. Yeah. If you want to nuance my statement more, you assume, obviously, we always assume other people's mental states, but don't make that like a fixed, rigid, unchangeable thing that will not like have contrary evidence, especially personal testimony by the person, unless they have good reason to lie or something, which you think she does, which also hurts your ability to...
Of course she does.
Of course she does, right? But you understand, but you've built a world now.
Nobody wants to be seen saying MrGirl is a good person.
Sure, but you've built a world now where she must think what you think she thinks, and there's no other contrary thing that could change that. Nothing could change that, because everything could just be her.
But that happened with you in Booksmarts too, right?
No, because I had prior behavior to go on. It might be the case.
So do I.
No, you don't.
Well, hold on. My experience is that I can understand people's mental states with much less information than the average person. You also have that same experience, I think. I think that you think that you know what somebody's thinking or what they're doing or feeling before most other people would. And I believe that is true about you. So the question is, what is reasonable to, I guess, feel you know what somebody's thinking, but how little information can you have that feeling, like base that feeling on? And then when is it reasonable to say it out loud, I feel like is another question. With Booksmarts, we both, yes, have information, but Booksmarts is making personal testimony to you, saying, no, that's not true. I'll even bring in my lawyer, and he will tell you that's not true, and the lawyer says, well, actually, you're wrong. But he was doing everything he possibly could to tell you what you're saying, what you see in me is not really happening, and he never conceded it, ever. And I don't think he ever will.
It was too late at that point for him to do it. That was the issue. But you don't have the same level.
About Lauren.
No, but what? Okay.
It's too late. It's too late.
So the only thing you can appeal to is if you had a personal interaction with her that the public isn't privy to, then maybe that can be justified. But nobody else can see that.
We DM'd a bit.
That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that, like, if you had an extensive personal conversation and she was saying things like, yeah, like, it's fun talking to you, but, like, I'm kind of nervous about agreeing to some of these things publicly.
No, nothing. I'll say if I leaked our DMs, it would probably not change anybody's or your assessment of my assessment. I think you would still think that I don't have the correct amount of information to make this assumption. But making an assumption is not a voluntary thing. Like, what are you suggesting I do instead?
You didn't just make an assumption. You made an assumption. You tried to crucify her with it.
Okay, so you're saying I should. What is your prescription here? That I don't make the assumption internally, or that I don't say it?
My prescription is we take a Bayesian approach to our things. You have some initial assumption in your brain, and then based on the data that you collect over time, you change that. You update the information based on different data points. That's what we do. Right? So maybe initially we think like, okay, I think she's probably okay with this, but she's just shy or whatever. And then you just go from there. And then you collect more data, you have more conversation, you see what's up. Maybe her opinion actually does change, or maybe it doesn't. But you collect more data before you come at somebody with something that you've got like a 25% certainty on. And then you try to like Sherlock Holmes them. And if you're wrong, it puts them in an incredibly defensive position that screws up the rest of the interaction.
Okay. And so you're saying if I feel that she's throwing me under the bus. So I was pissed off and my feelings were hurt.
Uh-huh.
Because she's pretending to her chat that she thinks maybe I think the age of consent should be 8 or whatever.
Uh-huh.
That hurts my feelings because I think that she thinks that I'm a very ethical and pure-hearted, good person.
But why would she think that? She doesn't know that. I don't even truly know that. And even I did a little bit of a risk. I joked with you in DMs and publicly about it. I'm like, hey, like, please don't rape any kids because it's going to make me look real bad. But like, even at me, like, I couldn't truly know, right? I took a little bit of a risk, but I'm willing to take risks like that because of who I am. But most people aren't. And it is a big risk, right? Because of the type of content that you're into,
and especially because of who she is. She's positioned herself as somebody, first of all, she's still fighting her own battles there. And second of all, yeah, she's trying to be the arbiter of pure. She's a pure Christian arbiter of what's good and moral and
and not even. You don't have to go that deep. It could just be that like think about like what's happened so far, in this community. Like she mentioned, I think she brought up Amosi.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so like that's a person who like was arguing about age of consent related shit, and he's in jail now for I think either fucking a minor or child porn or something, right?
I saw your stream with him. Yeah.
Yeah. So like imagine. Think about it from her perspective, right? Let's like run some potential scenarios in mind. Let's say she's like, okay, yeah, I trust you. I think that you're a decent guy. Like, bro. Let's say that it came out that you fuck kids, right? Like, she's fucked.
Right.
Like,
these are all great reasons for her to lie.
No, it could be a good reason for her to not truly trust you.
No, I don't think so. That doesn't make sense.
Why did that?
Because your sense of whether I'm a good person is not informed by what would happen if you were wrong.
No, hold on. That's not what I'm saying.
That doesn't inform your internal assessment. It informs whether you share that internal assessment.
Oh my God.
This is my problem.
Your sense of whether a person is good or bad can be based on prior interactions with other people. That's what I'm saying. If you've gotten burned a certain way by people multiple times, that's gonna be factored in your head when you're thinking of.
So you think that she thought Amos Yee was a stand-up guy, and then he disappointed her?
Not necessarily, but he was just a guy that's talked about weird child porn shit, and then eventually he became a weird child porn dude.
He came into his own. He blossomed. Okay. But do you also see? Yeah, I give you that. That's a good point. So she's seen other people who said things like me, but to that again, I don't think that she thinks that what I'm saying is actually like what he's saying. Because he was saying,
so as somebody who's like, I think I'm kind of a friend of hers. Okay, I would guess. I haven't talked to her about this. Okay, if I had to guess. My guess is it's not. I'm the most trustworthy person in the world. My guess is going to be that in her mind, she truly doesn't know. She probably really doesn't know. She probably is like 30%. You could be like an actual child pedophile rapist person.
I think in her heart, I think she has a good feeling.
Even if she did, I don't think that somebody in her position would trust it.
Well, that hurts me.
Why? It's intelligent. It's an adapted survival mechanism for her though, or for anybody that works in
racism.
Sure, it could be.
That doesn't mean it's not hurtful.
It's not about a fault, but it's about like a realistic expectation of a person. Like I would say the same thing to if there was a racist person that got robbed and beaten by like 15 black people in a row every time they met them, then when they met the 16th black person, they were like, you know what? I'm a little bit uncomfortable right now. I'd be like, yeah, you know what? That's fair. I'm not gonna argue with you about it.
I'm not saying it's not fair. I understand. I totally understand her reasons for doing it. I'm not saying she shouldn't do it or can't do it. I'm saying it made me upset. So my question is, so like, yeah, I get what you're saying, and I agree with you. But what do you want me to do when I feel like she's throwing me under the bus? I feel like she does have a good feeling about me, that she does have a sense that I am a good, trustworthy, moral person, and then signals to her audience that I'm not, as a way to hedge. Well, I don't want to get burned. I mean, it's a similar thing to the conversation about Arielle, where it's like, you know, yeah, it's safer for you, but you're kind of fucking me over.
I don't think they're fucking you over.
Well, it feels that way.
It's them being cautious.
Yeah.
I think you have to be respectful of that person's boundary.
What
when I'm
boundary?
meeting like a new girl, if I'm going on a date, I would expect her to be incredibly cautious around me. But I'm not going to tell her constantly, I don't like that you're treating me like a rapist. I don't like that you're treating me like a potential rapist.
I do.
That's great that you would do that, but it's disrespectful. And it shows a lack of understanding of how other people protect themselves. Because you're asking for a really intimate level of trust you haven't earned. That if that person gave to any random person, they would get fucked multiple times for doing it. Literally and figuratively.
Yeah. I think there's a difference between telling somebody that their way of protecting themselves is hurting you versus telling them that they can't do it.
But when you're asking them not to, you're asking them to suspend that level of safety for you.
Asking somebody to trust you is not the same as breaking their boundaries, though. She said no. I mean, she said no. I didn't say.
Well, but then you pushed on it for like 20 minutes. You had the meta conversation.
I had the meta conversation, but I did accept. I mean, if she had said I don't want to talk about this anymore, I would have said okay.
Well,
right?
Okay, I think we can probably also be a little bit smarter and figure out when people want to and don't want to. Like it was pretty obvious that like there wasn't going to be any progress made. Like, did you think?
Wait a second. You're saying that men should detect women's boundaries for them and that they shouldn't have to say no themselves?
To some extent, yeah.
So what? Okay, well then maybe we disagree about to what extent, because I think that it is your job, especially in a conversation, to establish your own level of consent. And if you don't like what we're talking about and you don't want me to push on something, then you have to say no. Like, again,
no,
like I'm not going to tiptoe around.
It's a two-person activity. It's one person's job to establish boundaries, and it's the other person's job to search for boundaries, right?
I don't think she was even trying to change the subject. I mean, my sense was that she was not even that she didn't want to talk about it. I think she was just like, it's really weird that you're saying this, but we can have a weird conversation.
Yeah, because she's obviously okay with having weird conversations, but I think that when you're... I think we're looping now.
Okay, do you think I violated Lauren Southern's consent in that
I don't care. That's not what I'm interested in. It's more just like, how do you get somebody to trust you? And I don't think pushing over and over and over and over and over and over and over again on every single topic is the way to do it. That's the
Yeah,
interesting.
I already said this with the cat thing. I'm not trying to get her to trust me. I'm trying to say how I feel about her fucking lying about how much she trusts me. I'm not saying that to try to get her to trust me. I'm saying it to be intimate and honest about my emotional experience. I don't want to sit here with a fucking shit-eating grin on my face, pretending I think it's funny that she's pretending that she's afraid to let her kids in the room when I'm on a stream with her, or pretending that she thinks that I might want the age of consent to be 8. I don't think it's funny. I mean, it's funny. It is funny, but also fucking pisses me off. And I want to tell her, like, your self-protectiveness is making me angry. And that if you want this relationship to continue, eventually, sometime very soon, I'm going to need you to be more fucking honest about your assessment of me, because I can tell that it's pretty positive and you're hedging with your chat, and I don't like it.
Okay.
So what do you want me to do when I feel that? That's what I'm trying to. You're saying I just shouldn't say that, or you're saying I should rework how I think about
Oh, no way.
human interaction until I don't feel it?
I just think you have to do a better job at detecting where people's boundaries are, and then. But I mean, I think
I'll push them.
we're looping. You can't push every
Are
boundary
you winning,
at once.
son?
No, we just can't push every single boundary at once. That's all I'm saying.
I think you're playing ball with these normie fucks too much, and that you need to step on the gas, buddy.
Bro, nobody has stepped on the gas as much as me. Okay, look at my fucking except maybe you, I guess, but like I don't think most people
Turn on the afterburner, baby.
Yeah.
Let's go. Let's take it further.
trying to maintain the little grasp of normality that I have left. Okay.
On cozy. I don't think. No, there's part of you that wants to just.
Yeah, of course, and I'm trying to figure out where that boundary is, and I'm pushing it more, and I'm being less like. I'm being a little bit more direct with some things, but like it comes at a big cost. That's the problem, right? Like I'm hitting my financial goals to where like I can probably retire and be okay. But like that means that like you have to understand, what do I mean when I say that? Like I think that engaging in the behavior that I do has a decent chance of like costing me my career. Like I think it could be over. Not even because I'm a horrible person, but just because there's like a social game that you have to play with everybody, some collective delusion. And by breaking even small parts of that, that you like could risk everything. And I wouldn't expect most people to be able to do that.
Okay, so this is something you're also wrestling with yourself.
Are you asking me or telling me?
I'm asking you.
Yeah, I'm always trying to find out like what is the boundary? How much am I willing to risk? Yeah.
I think I am too. In a way, I have more to lose and also less to lose. I don't have I have a potential career to throw away, but I don't have enough money to retire. I can't imagine what kind of content I would make if I had enough money to retire. Or maybe I would be safer, because it's like that once your income level is as high as yours, you're not just risking a couple $1,000s a month.
Yeah, well.
But I'm not going to lose. I'm not going to get deplatformed for telling Lauren Southern I'm angry at her for not trusting me, or not admitting that she trusts me. I feel like that's different. Like you could interpersonally play ball less with people while politically still being safe with the lefties.
Hold on. Okay. Jesus, I think this is the one. Okay, do you understand?
Yeah.
Okay, it might be. I'm feeling this one.
All right.
Maybe though. I just want you to have more deeper conversations where you're pushing the boundaries. And I think that if you play a game a little bit, you can get to push boundaries a little bit better. That's all I'm saying. No, I can't jump that. It's just not jumpable. Sorry.
Do you concede that there's like an inverse relationship between how many successful conversations you can have if you play nicer with people, but then they'll probably be less deep, Whereas if you push really hard, you'll have more car crashes where Vosh just hangs up on you because you asked about Android strippers. But then when you hit gold, you'll really hit it.
It's just a question of like, do you want to go for that 1 out of 100 ultra deep thing, or do you want to go for like having like 10 out of 100 like pretty deep things? And you probably still would find the 1 out of 1. It's not like if you were cautious with me in the first conversation that like we would have just stopped talking, right?
True, but I think it wouldn't have been so magical.
Maybe not. Have you talked to that Brittany Simon person yet?
Oh yeah, I was going to ask you about that. We're talking, I think on the 20th.
Okay, that should be fun.
You've talked to her. What do you mean it should be fun?
I don't know how to dodge that one. I'm rolling it correctly. I'm gonna die. I'm rolling it. I really am. Oh, the game. God gave me another chance. Hold on. God is giving me another chance. I'm sorry. I'm almost done with this. I hate my life. I hate my life. Why wouldn't he do his big move? Okay, I'm gonna roll into it. It didn't work. I can't roll it. It's unrollable. Do you understand? Do you understand what I'm saying?
I understand what you're saying. Are you rolling early?
No, it's just I don't know if it's rollable.
Doesn't chat know.
Okay, I'll try rolling a little later. Here we go. Nope, I'm dead. It's not rollable. I don't think it's rollable. Okay, sorry. Where were we? How do I get him to do his big charge up attack? If I could get him to do that twice, I'd win the fight. You can't jump it either. Okay, what do you want? Oh, Brittany. Oh, that'll be a fun chat, yeah.
Yeah, you've talked to her a bunch of times.
And that's somebody you can probably go as hard and creepy and weird with, like, immediately, and have it turn out just fine.
Well, I appreciate your blessing there.
No problem. You don't need my blessing or anything.
I still want it.
Okay, well, you have my blessing, okay?
Well, thank you.
How'd you get a hold of... Did you email the Arielle person, or did she reach out to you?
I emailed her. I saw her on Twitter, and I was like, you know what? Fuck it. Oh, you know who else I emailed? Ella, A-E-L-L-A.
Oh,
Did you talk to
Ella.
her? Did you talk to her?
I have no idea who the fuck that is. Sorry.
Like Ella Girl on Twitter. She's the one who tweeted about flooding the market with CGI child porn to stop child porn from being manufactured.
Jesus. Oh, she has me blocked, so.
Oh, really? That's weird.
Yeah, you'd think all of us child porn people would be sticking together, but no, I guess not, huh?
Yeah, we gotta link arms. She yeah, I emailed her. Oh, I wonder if her not liking you is why she stopped talking to me. I emailed her and we actually set a date, and then I was like, okay, can you confirm the date? Because she suggested it, and I was like, yeah, and then she just like didn't write back. So I don't. My chat really wants me to talk to her, so I don't know. I thought maybe you knew her, but now I see that.
Okay, I'm gonna try to run and jump
that way.
No, I can't. Yeah, I don't know her. Apparently she made a Apparently she made a sexual assault quiz or something that I took a while ago.
Yes. Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah, she has a lot of
Welcome back,
polls
guys,
on
to
Twitter
It's
that are
cool.
pretty interesting, juicy, provocative, obviously. But she deleted her child porn tweet, which, you know, I'm upset about.
How upsetting. Okay, what does he do? Oh, he's so far away.
Interview Will Smith. That's a good idea.
Oh yeah, dude, if you could talk to Will Smith, that would be awesome.
Yeah, that's a good suggestion, chat.
She also posted on your sub a couple times. Oh, interesting.
Yeah, she did.
Oh wow, so you know
right.
so much about her, huh?
Yeah. I've been trying to talk to her for like a year. I think I emailed her and DM'd her like 5 times over the last year. she finally responded, but I feel like it's falling apart. Oh, what was your dating story that I thought Destiny would hate? I'd met this girl probably 3 times. She was a friend of a friend.
Okay.
We went on a date to the Boston Aquarium, and after talking for like an hour, I was like, "Do you trust me?" And she was like, "Yes." And I said, "Do you trust me more than anyone?" And she was like, "Yes." And I was like, "Okay. Just checking." That's the whole story.
Wow.
But yeah. I've had when I was in LA, probably 20% of my dates would end with the girl just getting up and leaving. In extreme discomfort.
20%?
I think so. It was like a lot. I was like, I cannot believe this keeps happening. But it was like, yeah, within the first half hour, they would be like, I can't do this, and just get up and walk out of like the coffee shop or wherever we were.
Damn. Real quick, how can I see which shields parry? What would they normally? Oh, I see. What would they normally get upset about?
Yeah, a combination of like eye contact or I don't know, just like a feeling they would get from me. It's not anything specific, I would say. I think it's kind of what you're talking about, just an assumption of trust, me being more vulnerable than they're comfortable with, and me like asking them stuff about stuff they haven't like told me yet, I guess.
Wow.
I asked one girl if I could spank her. After she had just told me she likes spanking.
Gotcha. Interesting.
She
What
was
is
like
it?
asking me about kink. She was like talking about all this kink stuff, and I was like, "Can I spank you?" And then she said that that just made me really uncomfortable, and I have to leave.
Jeez. Wait, real quick. What's the smaller parry shield guy? Do I have one? Go buy one at the Volcano Manor. Okay. Was this after you guys were like already in like bed together or what?
No. We were. I didn't mean right then, but we were at like an outdoor mall.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't say Simon Says.
How long have you and Shay been dating again?
3 years, 2.5 years.
Damn.
Our first date was me training her at the gym. I asked her if she wanted a free training session. We met on Facebook.
Wow.
I added 500 women on Facebook.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, people are too guarded on dating sites, so I just started using Facebook, and
That's not creepy at all.
it worked. Because they kept accepting my responses. So then when she got my request, it was like, you have like 290 friends in common.
Interesting.
So she assumed that we already knew each other.
Where is Stormville on the map, guys? Jesus fucking Christ. Do you guys don't have like an open relationship or whatever, do you?
No. No. She was dating a few people when we met. She was poly, and then she shut it all down.
Jesus. You just took it over, huh?
Yeah. I took it over. You think your relationship will always be open?
Yeah, or we'll break up.
Who do you both need it to be open, or you do?
I do.
You just can't handle it?
No.
Or you're like, why handle it?
Exactly. Who's your next talk with?
Glink and Augie tomorrow, and then James Cantor on Thursday, who is like the pedophile expert, PhD, apologist. I think he's got some pretty weird views.
About what?
some quotes from him saying basically like pedophilia is a sexual orientation and should be treated as such, something like that.
Is that controversial? I guess it is actually. Never mind. That's a dumb question. Yeah, it is.
It is controversial. He's not saying the age of consent should be like lowered or eradicated, but he is like,
it's silly that we know that we can't talk people out of being trans. We know that we can't talk people out of being gay. We know that we can't talk people out of their sexual orientations, but for some reason we expect pedophilia to be different, right? Yeah.
yeah, something like that. I don't know what he thinks we should do about that, but I think he's like the leading expert.
Wow. Okay, well. That should be fun.
Yeah.
Well.
And then, yeah, I got to make my real doll review. I think that's the next big project.
How's that been going?
It's weird. My girlfriend Shaylin is very controlling about the doll. I've been having to try to stop her from taking over my project, or she wants to take over maintenance, or caring for. She's like, "You're gonna fuck it up," and I told her basically like, "You have to fuck off. You have to stop. You can't. This can't be about you."
Wow.
But yeah, I haven't, you know, started.
Is she trying to like fuck it or?
No, she's just trying to just interject herself into, you know.
Gotcha.
It's like she wants to like make friends with it, I think, or just, I think she just maybe feels threatened by it.
You planning on leaving her for it? Is that what's the possibility of that happening?
I think that's a 0%. I don't think I would
really
do that.
0. Be honest.
Well, I don't have to leave her for it, because we don't have to have an open relationship for me to have a doll. It's not open relationship. It's just a doll.
What if she gives you an ultimatum on it?
Then I would say no. Well, I don't know. I would hear her out, but I think
you could leave her for the doll then. Let's be honest.
Potentially.
Yeah.
But I would be leaving her for my own masturbation freedom. Like, I don't like if she said like you have to stop looking at porn or I'm gonna leave you. I think I'd probably say.
Yeah, but that's different. That's all of porn. We're talking about just one doll.
Just that could I have a different doll, or it's all dolls.
Yeah.
I think I would feel like that's an overreach. I think whatever I do in my private space with inanimate objects has to be for me.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, that's the newest member of the family.
Gotcha. Well. Okay.
Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure to talk to you, Steven.
Yeah, it's been fun. I love you.
I love you too. I appreciate your feedback, your challenge.
Yeah. Good luck.
I'll think about it.
Be careful.
You too.